Man, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 7 a.m. Wednesday, June 18th. No Greg today. He is out. So that means we don't talk real ball. But we'll try to get through it. Try not to sound stupid for you today. A lot of college football to get to. Apparently trying to hit the reset button in certain aspects of college football. We'll talk about that. The anonymous sources on SEC teams. We have some of what was said last year, some of what is being said this year about Southeastern Conference teams and what they're going to look like coming into the season, what we expect. We got college baseball to discuss, NBA Finals back on again tonight, transfer portal, recruiting. Get to all that across the course of the show today. You can always interact with us, 800-239-9569. You can text into the show, 205-834-9450. Per multiple sources, and one of those sources, Brett McMurphy, will be with us at 8 o'clock today. Matt Rife going to join us at 7:40. Coming up Sunday night, going to break in the new Coca-Cola Amphitheater. I'll be there. I suggest you go get your tickets and go check him out because I do think he's hilarious. Isaiah Hull going to join us at 9:20 to talk Michigan football, the signing of Jeff Garcia, what it means, should we read more into it, and maybe if Michigan can have that bounce-back season that we discussed yesterday. We kind of wondered on the show, could they be a team that is back in the mix, or do we look at them again as one that maybe not going to be overly disruptive in college football? So a lot going on, a lot to get to, a lot to talk about, and we have some NIL discussions to have. Some from an interview Diego Pavia has done with Bussin' with the Boys, some from other quarterbacks around the Southeastern Conference. But first, this reset button, which Ross Dellinger is reporting, Brett McMurphy is reporting, multiple people discussing how college football and the powers that be are looking to start over on planning a new 16-team playoff. Now, you might be thinking a couple of things there. One, how do we start over planning something that's not planned? We've been trying to tell you for a while now. 16 is it. 16 is going to happen. Also, looking at just the format of some of the other things around college football and how it would operate. A single transfer portal, OTAs in June, summer signing day. All of these things apparently now on the table for college football. Which ones make the most sense? Which ones do you look at and say, that needs to happen? That would be it. One transfer portal window. I wonder if that's going to be enough. I think we would all love to see it. I think it would be beneficial for college football. I think when you talk about guys that are bailing on their season, guys that are leaving before their season's over, you'd like to get rid of that. You'd like to stop that. You also look at guys that are trying to exit during the season. So maybe they're not quitting on their team and bailing on the last couple games, whatever that is. And maybe you get rid of a little bit of the, hey, coach, I've already appeared in my 4 games this year. I'm going to take that red shirt. I'll keep practicing for you, but just don't put me back in the game if that's cool. Thanks. Maybe you get rid of a little bit of that if the transfer portal window wasn't right after the season. I don't know exactly where you put it that makes the most sense. I do wonder if we go to one portal window, which I would like. I think most of you would like. I know all the coaches would like. How long is that going to be until we get a lawsuit on it? Can it legitimately be agreed upon by both sides? And as we've stated before, the player side is ever changing. It's always different. Guys are moving on. Guys are graduating. Guys are leaving early to go to the league. New guys are coming in. Guys are coming in from lower levels of football. Guys are also coming in from high school. So you're going to have different brains, different people, different mindsets. They're never going to all be on the same page. It's just not going to happen. Some guys are going to be fine with one portal window. Other guys are going to want to leave whenever they want. So in Asheville, North Carolina this week, the 32 Division I conference commissioners got together for their annual summer meeting. And some of these are all what was on the table. And the playoff format towards the top of the list. Now, you remember earlier this summer, right before those SEC spring meetings in Destin, it started with the 4 AQs from the SEC and the Big Ten. The ACC and the Big 12 would get 2 each. Felt like SEC Big Ten were simpatico in that. They were good moving forward. Basically both saying, we'll take our 4 AQs, SEC Big 10, ACC Big 12, you two get 2 in, and we'll throw in, maybe the 1 G5, and then we'll move on. Now the SEC has begun to lean a little bit further towards the 5 automatic qualifiers and the 11 at large. So I ask you, what's better? What's more advantageous for the SEC? What's more advantageous for college football? Either, both. Which do you want? Which should it be? 800-239-9569. I think the more that we broke it down, the more we peeled the layers back, the more we talked about it specifically on this show over the last couple of months, there's no way that you look at it and say 4 teams should automatically go from a league every year. It doesn't matter how good the league is. It doesn't matter what the league is. You're going to have a down year. You're going to have years where certain schools just aren't up to what they usually are. Other conferences are going to have good years, great years. We don't know how some of the revenue sharing is going to go in certain conferences, who's going to have more of what. And if the transfer portal window does go to just once a year, all of a sudden you could be looking at a situation where more guys are staying at one place longer. What does that mean? Well, you get a Big 12 school, or you get an ACC school, you get a CUSA school, some Sun Belt schools where guys have been there for 5 years, all of a sudden they got a pretty good football team. I find it hard to imagine that just the SEC and the Big 10 are going to have 4 teams that automatically deserve to get in every year. Now, we can finagle that. We can talk about that. We can manage that. And we look at it from the perspective of the schedule, who you're playing against who. It's always going to come up. It's always going to be a part of the conversation. But I don't view that as automatically, we got to say Big 10, you're getting 4 in. SEC, you're getting 4 in. And if your conference is that good, it shouldn't matter anyway. If your conference is that good and you believe that and you know that every year, you shouldn't have to sit back and say, well, we need the 4 automatic qualifiers. Make sure we get ours in. We're going to be that good no matter what. There's just parts of that I don't know how people can be on board with it to say that it's, 1, most advantageous for the sport, 2, realistic. Not every single year. You just can't project out that far. You don't know. You don't know how things are going to go. So is it better for the SEC individually to have 5 automatic qualifiers and then 11 at large? John, when you think about the 2 of these going one direction or the other, does it make as much sense to you as it does to me? 1, for the betterment of college football, and then is the 5 AQ and 11 at large better for the SEC in your mind as well?
On the surface, it feels like the automatic qual, but the 4 per conference, well, at least of the important conferences, it feels like that's the way it should be because they're the ones dominating. Therefore, they should have the most places and spots and everything. But now that we've had some time to think about it, I do think that probably for the betterment that the 5+11 model is probably better, because I do think that this way championship weekend still means something. Because I think with the other model, instead of having, if we went with the 4 automatic qualifiers, you're probably doing away with the actual SEC championship game, but most likely having it where 3 plays 6 for a playoff spot, 4 plays 5, and 1 and 2 were automatically in. So you still have a championship weekend, but you don't have a tried and true championship game, which is just going to feel weird. And I don't know if that's something that we want to head towards, but I think if you have your 5 automatic qualifiers, your championship weekend, your championship game still means something. And the SEC at that point is also not capped at 4 teams total. Because if your champion's getting in, chances are, the way we're set up right now, at least your second place team is getting in. So why cap it at just 4 when in theory SEC could have 5, 6, maybe even 7 teams, and depending on how way the season falls. And yes, you're right. Some years SEC is going to be down, and okay, maybe they don't deserve 4, but more often than not, why limit yourself to the 4?
All right, so let me ask you this: what if we go this direction? Should I make a bold prediction on the show right now?
Why not? Greg's not here. What's he gonna do?
I think we've already pretty much established this and said this. I don't think that we have said it in as definitive a manner as I will right now. But I mean, the plans for the SEC championship to go away are, they're in front of us. They're happening. The SEC championship game is not going to continue.
Probably not.
So you look at now what is the best option, maintaining a game or games that day to secure that window and be able to own a portion of that day the way that you have for a long time moving forward. And that would be to have some of your schools essentially playing their way in. Now, where that becomes complicated is which model do you go with? Because if you're going with the 4 automatic qualifiers, the only thing that would then make sense would be 4 and 5 to play their way in. And then let's go further than that. We'll take last year, for example. how do you then determine your seeding top to bottom in your league? And you can have the same conversation with the Big Ten here, if that's the way that it's going to go, if that's what they decided to do, because I do think that a play-in game is on the table, but I actually think that some of the presidents and ADs in the Big Ten and the SEC are concerned about their schools playing their way out. Because let's think about that. If you're South Carolina solidified at the 4, you got to go play another game to assure yourself you're in. So it's clear that Texas has the best record. It's clear that Alabama is second. It's clear that Georgia is third. And it's clear that South Carolina is fourth. And it's clear that Ole Miss is fifth. Tennessee is fifth. LSU is fifth. You got to go play that game on that Saturday just to get into the playoff when you're already in. Now, is that a massive moneymaker for the SEC? You bet your rear end it is. I mean, honestly, let's think about this. What's better for college football moving forward? Not college football, because a lot of this conversation can't be better for college football because we don't know how this is going to work. We don't know where this is going to go. We don't know what this is going to be. So I think it's almost a non-conversation to have right now. This is better for college football, because a lot of it, let's be honest, is not. Now, that's also based on how we fell in love with college football and what we grew up to appreciate about college football now being gone. And that's me in a lot of instances. We do have to consider, though, that we don't know what it's going to be like moving forward. So we can sit here and say, I'll be fair. I'll say we don't know what it's going to look like from a competitive balance standpoint. We don't know what it's going to look like from a postseason perspective, because we're going to 16, so that's already going to happen. So get ready for that. We've gotten away from divisions. We've only seen 1 year of that. Was it better or worse last year? I mean, y'all tell me. 800-239-9569. Was the SEC just generally itself, was it better with no divisions last year? I personally say no, but there's only one way that I know. I don't remember pre-1992, really. I don't know what that was like before South Carolina and Arkansas came in and we played the SEC championship game in Birmingham. We split them down the middle. I don't really remember how dynamic the regular season was in 88 or 79. I don't know. Maybe it was great. But I know there are a lot of people out there that talk about Amen Corner for Auburn and what that used to look like. Georgia and Alabama late, and I think Tennessee used to be towards the back end of that also. I know Auburn and Florida used to play much more frequently, and people used to appreciate that and like that. So it's, even though I'll sit here and say I think that what we're doing is probably not best for college football, I also don't know. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know how it's going to be. But what's better moving forward? So I'll ask you this right now. You can tweet into the show at Mac and Cube, 800-239-9569. Is a college football play-in game better to replace the SEC championship game, or is an SEC championship game better in which you don't always know what's going to be on the line from a playoff perspective? Because keep in mind, an SEC championship game is going to be 1 versus 2, which could mean you pull yourself out of having the number 1 overall seed. You could pull yourself having the number 1 and number 2 overall seed. So what if the SEC has the top 2 teams in the nation and you go into play-in Saturday and the 2 seed wins? You would think that automatically bumped them to the 1 seed, but Ohio State's undefeated, had a hell of a year too. Maybe they win their game, whatever the Big Ten's doing now, and they keep that 1 spot. Now you don't get it. Specifically, if it's a down year for the league and the 2 seed is a 3 or 4 loss team, seems unlikely. Now all of a sudden, what have you done? What would you rather see? A traditional? Well, it's not going to be traditional, so I can't even say that. There is no tradition of what the league is now with 16 teams. So what would be more beneficial, and what would you want moving forward? Would it be a college football playoff play-in game, or would it be what I'll reference as a traditional SEC championship game to crown the champion? Because then now, too, I mean, we're going to be – your SEC champion is going to be just, quote-unquote, crowned at the end of the regular season, right? And how many tiebreakers are we going to have to get to with 3 10-2 teams? or 11-1 teams. Well, points allowed in conference games on the road against traditional opponents, whatever it is, way down the third down conversions against opponents in conference on the road. And then all of a sudden, Tennessee's your SEC champion.
What are you, PFF?
Maybe. So a lot of changes are still coming. It is wild how when it appears as though we have a lot of this figured out, it then looks like it's going to be reshaped again before it's even been shaped. It's literally like my kids playing with Play-Doh. Before they can even finish constructing something, they reworked it, and all of a sudden it's back in the ball, and we're going to go do it again. We'll continue that conversation, get to your feedback, and more next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We'll get to your feedback on where Championship Saturday should go. What should it be? What would be most interesting to you? And I think part of this conversation is hard for some of us because we just don't like the overall direction. So it's hard to say, yes, let's go to a college football play-in game. Or let's keep the traditional SEC championship game, which, again, it's not even going to be traditional. Did you like it last year? Did it feel right last year? We kind of no East, no clear champion from two different sides. Felt a little bit weird. And we've had rematches in the SEC championship game before, something I never really liked, never loved. Sidebar. Where do you guys fall on this? Hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to go out there and beat a team again. Man, it's tough to beat a team 2 times in the season. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I actually feel the exact opposite of that. Because we kind of already beat you. Feels like the blueprint exists. Not only in theory, not only in writing, I got video of it.
In execution.
I got video evidence that we beat you. So confidence is in a really good spot after we just did what we did. Do we really buy this? Might tough to beat a team twice the same season, guys. That's like the most Lou Holtz thing a coach could ever say. Just selling your team short intentionally to try and find an extra way to motivate them. It's like that is Saban 101. You guys don't know what it's like to go beat a team 2 times in one season. They have your entire game plan. Yeah, so do we. The one that worked. And we have theirs that didn't work. I just never bought that. Maybe because we played Florida twice my senior year and got our ass kicked both times. That might have something to do with it.
Does that feel more or less egregious than you better give 110%, boy? I physically can't, coach.
Like, what are the clear examples of second time around in college football, it went very different? Now, Alabama took it to LSU second time around.
Yeah.
That was an amazing game.
Yeah.
The game of the galaxy.
Yeah.
It was right there in Tuscaloosa with 756,000 people walking around the stadium.
Yes.
Actually, I think it was 820. There were the population of Tuscaloosa was 2 million people that day, if you recall.
And you
couldn't even get off the interstate. It was literal Freaknik in Tuscaloosa.
2 people working in the library. Everyone else was there.
That one was really different. I mean, that was a beatdown
Yeah.
in the national championship game. But it's not as though Alabama was outclassed in the first matchup.
No.
Okay. Florida State, Florida, 1996. Now, that was one aspect, I believe, of Florida's team that was taken severe advantage of, and that was pass protection. Andre Wadsworth and those guys just literally pummeled him series after series. Guess what happened? You come out in the Sugar Bowl, all of a sudden Danny Werfel says, not going to hold on to the ball very long. We're going to hit you with a lot of slants and a lot of quick throws. We don't think you can cover us, and they didn't. That one went very different. Are there others that I'm missing? Glaring omissions that I have here. Because I remember when Auburn handled Tennessee in Knoxville, and all of a sudden it was going to be different in Atlanta, and it wasn't. It wasn't very different at all. And I remember when South Carolina put up a fight in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and then in Atlanta, it was very different, but just the same team won.
Ohio State and Oregon this past year. The first game was close and back and forth, whereas the second wasn't as close.
Fair. So maybe I'm being proven wrong here. I've just never believed it. And I think some of the instances that we're showing, that we're discussing, that we're bringing up in as examples here are, hey, it was just a great game. These two teams meet 10 times, good chances 5-5. I guess it's more of the team that understood that they were out-executed, not as good, not as talented, and then that was very different the next time around. Brandon wants to chime in on an example. Welcome into the show, Brandon.
Thanks, guys. Good morning.
Morning.
I was calling in, so I missed a bit. I don't know if you had mentioned yet Georgia over Bama a few years ago when we lost in the SEC championship and then came back and won our first of back-to-back championships.
Yeah, so that was the I'm trying to think, it was Bryce Young the quarterback? No, because Bryce Young didn't win a national championship.
But no, I'm saying Georgia won the national championship after losing to Alabama in the SEC.
So that was, yes. That was and that was the one where Jordan Davis was out of shape and Kirby said that they didn't do anything for a month, and then all of a sudden they went out and actually ran sprints and did some conditioning, and then they were in shape for the national championship game and won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was Alabama not down their top 2 receivers in that game? I think they were. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, and you bring up a great example. But I do think that there are sometimes certain things that can weave that meter one way or the other. I don't know. I'm saying I've never bought it. But maybe I'm wrong. I could absolutely be wrong on this. Becca tweets in, Auburn and Georgia 2017. Also no Kerryon Johnson, who was a massive part of that offense.
That was a little bit of a,
It's not like Jarrett Stidham was breaking people down with his legs a whole lot. And sometimes next in line is very different and makes your team very different, similar to those Bama receivers. It's not an excuse. It's just that kind of was what it was. And then Auburn, too, had a tough stretch. Had to play a lot of big-time football teams down the stretch. Maybe a little gassed out at that point. Maybe beat up. I don't know. I was just interested to get other people's thoughts on it. If you believe that that's – beat a team twice the same season, it's tough, go. You don't just beat a team twice the same year.
Except when you do.
Where was Oregon-Ohio State played the first time?
Wasn't it at Oregon?
Yeah. Jolly tweets in, college football is evolving. The championship game was important in an era where the top 2 teams played for a natty, BCS, or 14 college football playoff era. At this point, it's been replaced by the expansion. It's evolution of the game. And we're evolving even more. As we have stated, as Ross Dellinger has stated and Brett McMurphy has reported, they're hitting the reset button on something that hasn't taken place. Is that not the microcosm of where we are in college football right now? Hey, guys, we need to start over. On what? That thing that we're thinking about doing.
Everything.
All of it. We're starting over, and we haven't even gotten there. They're basically Jimbo Fisher in a bad practice right now, is what they are. If you haven't heard the stories before, multiple instances where Jimbo Fisher, we would get to our team periods, and, oh, man, I think we did it way before team periods one time. So you have a 21-period practice. Team probably starts around 17, 18. You get a couple plays in, and literally the entire practice starts over. They put period 1 back up. There's those old numbers that you had to flip over. The top had like the rings on them. You flipped it over. Period 1. They start the timer again. Now these kids have these giant like play clocks, so they know how much time's in their periods. I swear to God, our periods lasted 8.5, 10 minutes at a time. I mean, you're sitting over there looking certain days, and you're like, we have done 7 times the fundamentals today than we do every other day. And you're telling me this is a 5-minute period? Because the special teams coach has got to get his fake field goal work in. So we're over there just going through the chutes 77 times because whoever the special teams coach is wants to try and flip it over the holder's head to run it in. We got to work on that more. Thanks, coach. Meanwhile, we're over here pushing the sled. But he would completely start practice over. There was one day we started stretch again. We've practiced for an hour and a half, and we're going to go flex. I think we're good. The bodies are warm, coach. We're good. We'll be fine.
Make him do it again.
Do it again. Run it again. All right, back with more Mac and Cube next. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Is it bad that the Nebraska-Miami game is still on my computer from yesterday, and I'm just kind of checking back in on it?
Kids today with all their distractions.
Sorry. It was a fun watch, though. I will admit that.
It's ball.
It is ball. And we don't talk good ball when Greg's not here. Or, I'm sorry, real ball when Greg's not here. However, we still do attempt to talk it, and we will try to do that throughout the course of the show today. One of the questions on the show today, Damien, what do you believe? Hard to beat a team twice in the same season? It's tough to beat a team twice. Or do you buy into that's real? It is tough to beat a team twice.
It's all about, there's a lot of circumstances where, like you go Kerryon Johnson, how healthy he was the first time they played Georgia, and then, a couple carries into the SEC championship, it was a little bit different. And then, of course, like you brought up Georgia and Alabama, the national championship game looked a lot different from the SEC championship game, and there were players missing for Alabama. Not to make any excuses, but there were some differences.
And different aspects of a game can be different the next time around. You look at what certain position groups can do in one matchup that they didn't do in the first. And that could not just be guys healthy or not healthy. It could be that they're playing very different at that point in the season, which could be much later. Truth Serum tweeting in, what a shame. I just started listening this morning, and I already feel the disgust that I have for the way college football is going, thanks to the current administrators making decisions that only benefit them. Just to be fair, that is their job.
Correct, yeah.
So can't be completely mad at a certain individual for doing what's best for the entity that writes their checks. It's
how dare you
kind of how it works.
How dare you look out for you and yours?
No.
How dare you?
Doesn't mean we have to like it. Doesn't mean we have to like all of it. But I do think you at least have to point out that it's kind of what they get paid to do. But there are aspects of it that don't feel right, don't feel good, that we don't want. Gusty Gould's group knows that there are different things that you might want in your home, so you might just want a new one. He can help you get there. Brokered by eXp Realty. Call 205-542-1996 or just Google the Gusty Gould's group. You'll see over 850 five-star Google reviews. Gusty doesn't start marketing after you list with him. He's already been doing it. Latest technology and more. Serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. He's helped family members of mine. He can help family members of yours. Gusty Gould's group recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold since 2012. Go to GustyGouldsGroup.com or call 205-542-1996 today and start packing for all your real estate needs in Central Alabama. So part of the question here was Championship Saturday for the Southeastern Conference. Where do you want it to go? Where should it go? Where does it need to be?
See, I feel weird because while I guess I want one of two extremes. I either want to keep it how it should be. You actually crown a conference champion, because I still think that means something. Even if you, whether or not you play it on the field and you give it a regular season banner, like it feels like we do in basketball and baseball, most other tournaments. I'd rather have that, or I don't know if I'm on board with the championship weekend having 3 play 6 and 4 play 5, and just gifting 1 and 2 their playoff spots. I would almost rather 1 play 8, 2 play 7, have those at home, and then
hold on a second. You're adding games now.
Yeah.
You want this to be tournament Saturday, not championship Saturday.
If we're going, might as well lean all into it. If we're going towards this direction and adding more games, why not go as far in as we can?
I like where you're going, John, but let me ask you this. How much would your opinion change of that with the automatic qualifier status being different? So if the SEC just had 4 AQs, or if it were 5 overall AQs, which is going to be conference champions highest ranked?
I think we need if we have the tournament Saturday, we need to have the 4 AQs or however many.
Because you want a little bit of forgiveness for number 3 maybe losing after being a 2-loss regular season team.
I think so, yes.
So, yeah. 5's getting in, but all of a sudden, where are they going to be? That aspect of it is intriguing to look at, well, which is most beneficial for which model? Does the SEC get 4 teams in no matter what? And then do you just play one game and say top 3 getting in, 4 or 5, good luck. And 4, if you have complaints about it, finish at 3.
Yeah, it ain't that hard.
I mean,
Do better.
it is hard to win a lot of games in the SEC.
Now, if you're
every
4,
year,
you could easily just go to anyone could do it.
if you're 5, Willy Wonka just gave you your ticket.
Yeah.
Well, he told you where it was. You still have to go find it.
Well, right. Yeah.
It's not necessarily in hand. But if you have the automatic qualifier status of just 5 total, where whoever you name your conference champion, I think maybe that's where I struggle with this the most. I don't like just naming things.
Yeah.
I like to know what it is because this happened. And even if that is a 4-loss East champion or West champion getting in and finding a way to win it, you know what? By God, they went and did it.
On the field, it happened.
They proved it. So they were there. And I think that's where I might be struggling with some of this, is just that this whole like naming things or selecting things, not out of the air, but because we want to or we think that's what it is. I think some of the definitive measures in college football that are going away are starting to bother people. Now, that's the committee, that's the BCS rankings, that's round robin tournaments to get into another tournament, whatever that is. And who plays in that tournament to get into the other tournament that a lot of people were selected to just go play in because of what they did during the season. And you got to find balance here. We have to keep the regular season important, but at the same time, we have to find new ways to generate money, and we have to include a lot of people. All of those can be difficult trying to do at the same time. It's not always easy to do all that. So, Antonio Macbeth tweets in 2010, Nebraska smacked Washington 56-21 at Washington. Then Washington beat them in the Holiday Bowl that same season, 19-7. Bowl games are meaningless, though, right?
That's what I've been told.
That's what the people say.
To the Holiday Bowl.
You sure that wasn't 1910? All right, I'm excited for our next segment. Matt Rife going to join the show. He's going to be at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater here in Birmingham Sunday night. Don't miss it. Dude's hilarious. He's fun. This interview, obviously, going to be fun as well. Looking forward to that. We'll do it right after this break next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, going right to the Higginbotham Hotline. Welcoming in comedian Matt Rife, going to be at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater June 22nd. The first act ever at the brand new Coca-Cola Amphitheater. You've done some cool things in your career, but opening an entire new amphitheater, is this a first for you?
Absolutely, man. I'm so excited. Alabama has always been such a good time, and to be the first person of this brand new amphitheater, I'm excited to be the first person to take a jump backstage.
Alabama's been a good time, always. Take us further.
Always.
I need to know, number one, what do you think of when you think of Alabama? And then how and where has Alabama always been such a good time?
First thing that comes to mind is Dreamland Barbecue, probably.
Oh, boy. Just the bread and the sauce is all
Can't
you
go
need.
wrong.
Just the
Oh,
loaf of
my
white bread,
God.
hot sauce, and we're good.
It is so good, man. I'm trying to get them to cater the event. We'll see. I can't go down there and not have my fix of barbecue. But I grew up performing since, I guess for the last 14 years in Hoover, Alabama, just down the street, really. There's a great comedy club called the Star Dome.
Yep.
So driving between Hoover and Birmingham, I've been doing shows there for 14 years. And it's just always been a good crowd. Like, people in Alabama just love to laugh, man. No one's taking life too serious. It doesn't need to get political. Nobody has an agenda. No one's doing with their arms crossed. People just come out. They brought the babysitter, or they left their kid in the car, and they're down to have a good time.
Man, you did start out on the low end. If you were doing Stardom, like I did a radio show with Cassio Kid or Matt Mitchell for a long time, and like he actually performs there. So I didn't realize you started
No
so
way.
far from the bottom, like that was a real thing for
yeah.
you. And now you've made it. Look at you now.
It feels like home, man. I miss it.
All right, you'll be here at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater June 22nd. I got to say, I'm a fan of your work. Like I said, I used to work with a comedian, so I feel like I'm a little dangerous with my knowledge of how the business operates. You did a crowd work special on Netflix, but during that, you made a couple references that like there were some haters in the industry, kind of like some negative feedback of, take me further into that. Do they think it's just too easy? Is it lazy? Like what's the perception of why that would be considered negative by some?
Oh, that's such a funny question. First of all, thank you for being a fan of my work. I appreciate it. Thanks for staying up and watching it late in bed, like most people. The crowd work special was something unique and interesting that we brought to Netflix because it was something that became so prominent of my act over the last couple of years. Something people just found really entertaining. It was never anything I really thought too much about. It was just like a fun portion of the show that I would do. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I could just do a full hour of this if I really wanted to. So we pitched them the idea, and it went great. We reached number one on Netflix in a couple dozen countries. And it's just funny the critique you can get. I mean, people are going to critique you no matter what you do on the internet.
Fair.
I'm a comedian. My only job is to make people laugh and entertain, and the fact that I do that in mass numbers is nothing but a blessing. You're always going to find somebody who has a problem with it. I love when people think crowd work's the easiest thing. Think that it's that it's easier than doing written material. So you're telling me it's easier to be funny on the spot than it is to go home and think about it for months and months at a time? It's not any easier. It's spontaneous. If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
I think the only thing I would accuse you of was it would have actually been scripted, because the way you kept coming back to say like the mother and daughter with the mom working at the sex shop, whatever it was, or the whole deal, like you were 4 or 5 couples or people past that, and then you would reference back to it immediately. I would have said, well, no, the whole thing had to have been scripted. That's maybe if I was to give you any criticism, but I know it wasn't.
Oh, man. Fortunately, just that blessed. It was incredible. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a taping, right? So, like, there was definitely a couple people in that special that I didn't get anything from. It was a super boring interaction, but you don't post that, obviously. Who the hell does that? You don't post a highlight tape of you getting sacked 3 times.
Well, I'm an offensive lineman, so that would have been me giving up the sacks. So that would have been really bad. We wouldn't want to post that. I do have to ask you about like your football fandom, desire, interest, any of it. You are from Ohio. You've mentioned kind of the country of Ohio, which, you know, that's Ohio State won a national championship last year. So are you a massive fan? I've heard you reference football a lot of times, but never go deep into how much you pay attention to it or how much you care about any individual team.
Oh, yeah, man. This is not going to help my sales in Alabama, but I am a diehard Ohio State fan. But you know what? It's fine. You guys had your dynasty. You had your decade. Just let us live for a little bit. We have been coming so close for so long. Every year we get so damn close and just can't close the deal and mess up an important game. You know, it's funny. The only Ohio State game only college football game I've ever been to, I went to the Ohio State-Michigan game this year at home, flew in for it. I was like, oh, this is a shoo-in. It's a 5-6 team. We're going to blow them out. Lost, embarrassingly.
I'm going to get you to an SEC venue. And just so you can reference it and have that reference point of how different it is, I'm going to check the schedule, see the SEC schedule if we can't like whip you over to an SEC game one night, either before or after you have an event, and try to kind of make that happen.
I would love to. Let's do it.
We're going to do it. One thing I've always been interested in, like I said, I've worked with a comedian before, and I would always ask him, and I want to ask you, you don't have any problem hurting people's feelings. And you stated multiple times in other interviews I've seen, like, hey, you don't have to like my stuff, but I'm trying to make people laugh. And I might not like your stuff. Like, we don't all think Jerry Seinfeld's overrated, but I would actually agree with you that he was. So it's okay. When you look at where you draw the line on certain things, because certain things that you do make me laugh, my wife might hate. Other things that might make you laugh, I might hate. So where do you kind of say, you know what, I'm not going into that? Or this is where I draw the line. We're not even going to tell that joke. We're not even going to go to that demographic.
It's 100% personal preference. I don't believe there is a line at all. If I think it can be funny, then I'm going to say it. And more than likely, somebody else is going to agree. This is the great thing about comedy. It's an opinion-based industry. There are no facts about what's funny and what's not. You could base it. You could go by numbers, I suppose, but if you go statistically, then millions and millions of people would find what I find funny, which would obviously give me the confidence to try new things. I don't think anything's off limit, and I don't think anybody should get their feelings hurt by a joke a comedian says. I think that's absolutely insane. They're telling jokes, which means they're not serious. If you get your feelings hurt by something that's not serious, fully intended with no other intention but to make somebody laugh, I think you're an emotionally immature person. Shut up. Turn off the TV or your phone. Don't watch it, because the rest of us are trying to enjoy this life that can be a pain in the ass.
All right. Matt Rife's going to be at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater June 22nd. That's Sunday night. He's opening up the whole damn thing. So go check him out. I promise you're going to laugh. I promise you're going to enjoy it. When you see your last name, it's probably not difficult to spell. You didn't have issues with it growing up. My last name is Cubelic, so you can imagine that has been butchered about every single way possible. Did your teachers, coaches, elders, whatever it was, have as much trouble remembering how to pronounce your last name as I do for whatever reason? I don't know why I can't get it right. And I know what your name is, but for some reason when I see it, I just want to screw it up.
It's all right. That's the Alabama educational system. That's okay.
That's all it is.
First of all, you got to change your name. If everybody's messing it up, change it. You got to go by Johnson, Washington, something super basic. But yeah, man, I got it all the time. Every year, first day of school. Reef, Riff, Riffy. It's 4 letters. Rife should be so simple. I got you. I'll bring some flashcards when I get there.
Oh, that would make life a lot easier. Our listeners wouldn't need flashcards if they're going to come see you. For those that haven't, that are thinking about it, maybe like, why should our listeners who are primarily sports fans come and check you out June 22nd at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater?
You should just come see me if you want to laugh. If you like to laugh, you enjoy a good night out with your buddies or laughing with your friends and family, this is the show for you. And I can guarantee you it's a comedy show unlike anything you've seen before. I'm not just standing up there with a microphone telling jokes 1 through 27. Like, we're going to have a good time. It feels like we're all having a party together. It's a night out under the stars. Hopefully the weather stays decent. It's going to be a warm night in Alabama. Come out for a good time.
It's going to be great. He will make you laugh. I assure you. Last thing, when it comes to the crowd work, when it comes to a script, because I'm very, very ADD. I get off track. I get on one thing and I just go with the other thing, and then I can bounce back to the other thing immediately. How do you keep yourself from getting too off track with something you see in the crowd, and then getting back to what the original maybe script or message or how you wanted to deliver things were? How do you balance the back and forth of, I see this dude over here with the mullet, I got to talk about him. Like, we need to know what happened with the haircut, or going on with your show that you normally would have planned?
That's a great question, man. I wish I had a better answer than just instincts. I mean, I think that's just where it comes into being good at your job. Like I mentioned, you do have a script of jokes that is your planned hour-long set, but I love to deviate from it. I love to do something that's in the moment with some people that are there in front of me that I'm not ever going to see again. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love taking a left turn and talking to somebody in the crowd for 15 minutes, and we get some gold. But eventually, I do got to find my way back to what I was talking about before. It's all about transitions, I suppose. You just got to find your way back to it. It's just being good at your job. Not everybody can do it, but I've been super blessed.
Just say born with it. I feel like you have the attitude to do that. You could have just done it right there. You could have just dropped it on there. I was just born with it, man. It's just the way that I roll, the way I do it. Matt, thanks for the time, man. I'm looking forward to checking you out. I'm going to be there. I'm excited about it. June 22nd, Coca-Cola Amphitheater. Thanks for taking some time with us today.
I appreciate you, brother. I'll see you this weekend.
That's right. That was Matt Rife joining us here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning here on Jox 94.5. Remember, you can call us 205-834-9450. That's 205-834-9450. Texas as well. We got Brett McMurphy coming up in about 6 minutes. College football is about to get reset, and we're resetting even though, well, we ain't done it yet. We ain't done nothing yet, but we got to hit the reset button. That's just what we got to do already? Okay, fine. Sure, let's go. Let's hit it. Let's do it. Okay.
Don't know if that's the way that it's going to go or how it's going to go, but we'll ask Brett McMurphy on the other sideline, on the other side, not the other sideline, of how and why it all of a sudden became a difference of opinion between the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten as to what they want the playoff formula to be. Is that for each automatically qualifying? Is that 5 AQs overall? Brett McMurphy reporting on that and just how a lot of college football and how it operates is being reset. One transfer portal window, signing day in the summer potentially, OTAs in June for college football players. There's going to be new phrases we even have to get used to, and we've had to do that for the last, 5-6 years? NIL, collective, portal. I mean, all these things that are happening in college football that are still new, now going to be revamped again. So Brett McMurphy will be with us to discuss that. We talked about Championship Saturday. What do you want it to be? What should it look like? Should it be a playoff game to get into the playoffs? Should it be 2 play-in games on Championship Saturday for the SEC or the Big Ten to be able to find teams to get in? And we haven't even really hit on the surface of if you're the ACC or the Big 12 and it were to go to the 4 AQs to the SEC and the Big 10, 2 each to you, how do you manage that? Are you just giving those spots away? You making 2 teams play for one of those spots? And what does this do to scheduling moving forward? We don't know exactly where that's going either. We'll discuss all that and more. Some recruiting news for Alabama on the other side, some roster news for Alabama basketball on the other side. Brett McMurphy joins us next right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Welcome back in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We are considering changing the name of the show. However, would spell my last name correctly if we did. Let's go to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Brett McMurphy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to report. There's a lot to talk about, Brett, as far as some of these changes that are being discussed. I mean, we're trying to revamp and rework something that hasn't even happened yet. So I want to start with this. And you can follow Brett on Twitter at Brett_McMurphy. Works with the Action Network. Find his work there. Where did we see the exit ramp on the 4 AQs to the SEC and the Big Ten, with 2 each going to the ACC and Big 12, to that rest stop that was 5 overall automatic qualifiers and 11 at large getting into a 16-team college football playoff? Now, the Big Ten hasn't exited yet, but it feels like the SEC has. When exactly did that happen, and why?
It's been probably for the past few weeks. You know, when that first got out there, gosh, I mean, it all runs together now. Was it a couple months ago? You know, I'm sure you and everyone else saw about it and read about it, where the not really a proposal, but a possibility for the new playoff starting in 2026 would be 4 automatic qualifying bids for the SEC and the Big Ten, but only 2 each for the ACC and Big 12, and then the rest of the field filled out with Notre Dame, a Group of 5 champ, and then at-large teams. That basically, the SEC, again, was considering that, was okay. I don't want to say they were okay with it, but they were looking at that, and it seemed to be that was the one gaining the most traction. And then it got out publicly, and I think a combination basically of the public backlash of, you know, from people, you know, commissioners with the Big 12 and the ACC, plus just, you know, fans in general about, you know, this would turn the playoff into an invitational. And then I was in Destin at SEC spring meetings a couple weeks ago, and their coaches were very, very vocal about that. They did not want the 4 AQs. They were like, let's earn it on the field. And they were like, you know, the 5 automatic qualifiers for each conference champ, the power conference champs plus a Group 5, and then the remaining 11 teams would be basically at-large teams, the highest ranked teams remaining that are not conference champs. That was the model that the coaches favored, and they came out very strongly about that. And so now what has happened, Cole, is basically the Big Ten is still locked into that. They want the 4 automatic qualifiers. The SEC doesn't. And so, yeah, basically what I was told is that they basically cannot – they've agreed to disagree, but they can't settle on what format they want to have going forward in 2026. So at least right now, look, things can change. It's fluid, but at least right now, they don't have enough support to go with the 4 automatic qualifiers for the Big Ten and the SEC. And the Big Ten will not come off of that, and they will not support the 5 AQs, 11 at large model. So they won't go there. So we're kind of at a stalemate. And people may be thinking, well, the Big Ten wants it, everyone else wants the other side, then screw the Big Ten. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your viewpoint, it doesn't work that way. The Big Ten and the SEC were granted the power to be able to determine what the playoff format will be going forward. And so if the Big Ten and the SEC don't agree on that, then they're basically saying, let's go back to the drawing board. Does that mean they look at a 14-team model? Does that mean they want to stay at 12? Does that mean they still will go to 16? I mean, I think if you talk to the majority of people with the SEC, and that includes Greg Sankey, and I know you've talked to him a lot, I think they would be honestly be fine with the top 16 teams and let's put them in a playoff. The Big Ten, however, does not want to do that. And granted, on the Big Ten side, I will say it makes sense a little bit on their side. Not necessarily that I agree with it, because they do play 9 conference games. The SEC only plays 8. So if you go to the 5+11 model and there's no incentive for the SEC to go to a 9th conference game, the Big Ten, whether they're accurate or not, they feel like they're at a disadvantage because they play that additional conference game.
We're visiting with Brett McMurphy on the Higginbotham Hotline, discussing some of the potential changes coming to college football of things that haven't even been introduced, which is just makes it a wild conversation, Brett. But some of the other inner workings of college football also potentially looking at change. Transfer portal windows, maybe only having one of those, when that would be. A summer signing day, potentially. What else is on the table right now for the college football power brokers that could shift certain things, certain dates that take place now, and either shrink them or place them somewhere different on the calendar?
Cole, it would be quicker to tell you what's not on the table right now. So let me get to that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm not. This is the challenge going forward pretty much with anything, is that what may work for certain conferences, whether it's the portal window and other things that you mentioned, it may work for some conferences. It may work for some of the power conferences. It may work for the SEC. It may not work for the Big 12. It may work for the Big 10. It may not work for the ACC. It may not work for the non-power leagues. Is that even a consideration anymore? The challenge is, football has become a 2-semester sport. It's leaked into January. And yeah, the championship game has always kind of been that second Monday, if you will, in January. But now that's gotten pushed back. The 12-team playoff and then the expanded playoff going forward. You'll have multiple games in January. And so now it used to align with the academic calendar because you split up into the, Christmas break and all that stuff. But so how do you do a portal? What's the right time to do a portal? Kirby Smart at the SEC meeting said, forget about the playoff, forget about the conference schedules, going to 8 or 9 games. The most important thing is determining the portal window. And, what works for somebody that's not in the playoff may not work for somebody that is in the playoff. And Kirby talked about the challenge of what they had to go through last year. When the portal's open, they're preparing for a conference championship game. They're trying to prepare for the college football playoff. The portal's open. You got guys coming and going. And, imagine, the NFL, the first week of the wild card playoffs and the NFL, and suddenly free agency, active free agency is open then. So that's kind of the challenge going on at the college ranks, and they're trying to figure out something that works with everyone. And, do you do it after spring practice and then, let the guys go then? But then, the negative is, well, you can't bring in your new kids for spring practice, plus the kids that may be leaving just went through the spring practice. So again, there's a positive and negative for each one, and that's something they're trying to solve, or basically make the best decision they can with a lot of options that may not be great for everybody.
It's a lot to keep up with, honestly, and I don't know exactly where we're headed with a lot of this. What are you hearing about as far as conversations of Championship Saturday, where that goes, what that is, what that potentially turns into? I think we can all agree here, Brett, that our usual conference championship games on that day are not going to live moving forward. This is not going to be a real thing based on all the other changes. What do you expect this to, or what are they even discussing this looking like in the next 3 to 5 years, or hell, maybe even next year?
Yeah, really. No, that's a great question, Cole. And yeah, that's kind of, a casualty, if you will, of going forward with the playoff. Remember we used to hear the drumbeat, conference championships matter. That's an important thing. And, the conference, championship game specifically started by the SEC has been a huge, huge success. But if we're going to a 14 or 16 team playoff, and again, we don't know if automatic bids will be involved or not. The conferences have already talked with their athletic directors about, there's no reason that if Texas and Georgia finish 1 and 2 in the SEC, that they need to play in a conference championship game, because all you're going to do is beat both teams up and potentially hurt their chances to advance further in the college football playoffs. So again, if you're just trying to get teams in that top 16, some of the ideas that have been floated have been, have like almost like a 2-round playoff within your conference, where like the third place team plays 6, 4 plays 5 within your own conference, and then those winners would play in a quasi conference championship game. Well, what that would do is those teams ranked within your conference 3 through 6, 1 and 2 is obviously locked into the playoffs. So the 3 through 6 teams, whatever 2 teams win out of that group, certainly would climb in the rankings and basically guarantee, those 4 spots. Now, would they want to do that if they're not automatic qualifiers? I don't know. If they go with the 5 plus 11 model, I think you're right, Cole. I don't think we will see the conference championship games like we have in the past. We will get to a point in the very near future where the quote conference championship games will not pit the top 2 teams in the conference. They will pit somebody further down the rankings that will give them an opportunity to win, to improve their standing, their strength of schedule, which has been talked a lot about. Was talked a lot about yesterday as far as the future playoff. And it's kind of weird because I never thought the conference championship game as it's set up would go away, because it's been such an incredible success, such an incredible moneymaker for the SEC, but yet they're one of the conferences that would be willing to just, let's revamp this and figure out a way to kind of build the resumes of our teams that are right on the edge of getting in the playoff by putting them into a conference type tournament instead of the traditional conference championship game that we're used to that first Saturday in December.
Brett McMurphy of the Action Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. If you were to project ahead, are you in a similar mindset that I am when you hear some of the things about the portal and going to a single portal window and either shortening that or lengthening that in that one particular time that it was? Do you not just immediately think lawsuit when you hear that being discussed? I want that. I mean, I think that's what's best, and I think coaches would want that as well. But I hear that, Brett, and I just think to myself, well, then somebody's just going to sue them about it and say that it's not fair that they couldn't get out at this time because of some weird circumstance that was taking place with them. The NCAA is probably going to bow down, and then it's going to have to reopen again for everybody.
Cole, a lot of people have talked about we need a commissioner for college football. I'm nominating you, okay, right here. So let's start the grassroots campaign. You were 100,000% correct. And that's the issue going on now in all of college athletics. Whatever decision they make, whether it's the portal, whether it's the house settlement, whether it's scholarship numbers, whatever it is, somebody files a lawsuit. And it's sad, but that's kind of the state that college athletics is in right now. And you were 1,000,000% right on that. If you do that, somebody's going to come down the pike and present their case on why that's, illegal, that shouldn't work, et cetera. Look, I've been in college 10 years. I deserve an 11th year because of this or that, and they're going to file a lawsuit. So yeah, that's one of the biggest issues and one of the most challenging aspects of this whole thing. And yeah, you're dead on. And how does that hamper their decisions? I don't know. Do they have to worry about that? Yes, they do. But at some point, do you just make a decision and say, this is the best decision we can make, and we're just going to have to deal with whatever negativity or lawsuits, that we get flooded with?
Wild times, Brett. A lot going on. Is there a marker? Is there a hurdle? Something here coming up that we should be paying attention to, that we should be listening for, a date, a meeting that you feel like could be sort of our next shift in where a lot of this is headed? We might get a little bit more clarity as to what it's going to be.
Not really. I mean, obviously they want to accomplish things sooner rather than later, but As far as specifically the SEC, they need to determine if they're going to 9 games before the start of this season. That's what Greg Sankey told us in Destin. The challenge for the SEC is the deadline for the 2026 playoff is not until December 1st. So unless they determine the format for the playoff for the start of this football season, then the SEC would have to make a decision on whether to go to 9 games or stay at 8 without knowing the future of the college football playoff. So as far as the SEC going to 9 games or staying at 8, that will be decided before the start of this football season. And as far as the format for the college football playoff, that has to be determined before December 1st. So there's 2 kind of target dates, and obviously the best scenario for the SEC is they determine what the playoff is in 2026 before their deadline for determining whether they need to go to a 9th game or not. So that's kind of the challenge the SEC is facing specifically.
Brad, great stuff, man. Thanks for the time. We always enjoy catching up with you. Appreciate you hopping on with us. Let's do it again soon.
Hey, thank you, Cole. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Brett McMurphy joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Just a lot going on there. A lot to unpack, a lot to discuss, a lot to kind of have an understanding of where it's going. We will get to that later this hour. We will talk about unnamed sources, college coaches, and what they're saying about other teams and what they said last year. I mean, it's going to be right. Your feedback, 800-239-9569 at Mac and Cube. All that coming up next right here on Jox 94.5. had all this college football planned out for us to go. And I thought about something when I was listening to Greg and Butch during the break of what are some of the best Birmingham-based ad campaigns we've ever seen. Because that made me think of, I mean, literally when the commercial ended, I was in my head, I expected to say, where $100 says you'll beat your best deal regardless.
Regardless.
I mean, Jim Skinner Ford, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That guy. They always had the fan of cash.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Spare no expense with the blue screen or whatever they were standing in front
no.
of.
I don't even that wasn't even green screen. Then it was something new. I mean, they invented, somebody did, whoever was doing the Bobby T show also did the graphics for the Jim Skinner Ford commercials.
Probably just added value, threw it in.
God, the Bobby T show. I want Bobby T on this show. Is he still around?
I don't know.
Because that was some of the worst television I've ever seen in my life. But I watched it.
Yes. Yep.
I'm not telling y'all why, but I watched it. We wanted to know what was going on in Pinson Valley. Some people needed to know what the scene looked like over in Moody. I never ventured out that way, but you know what? Based on what Bobby T showed us, we might think about it the next weekend.
There's a Jasper, Alabama? Man, I got to know what's going on there. Who knew?
I didn't know there was that much meth. Let's stay away. That's good. Griff Redmill told me that. I don't know that. Blame that on Griff Redmill. He's the one that said he's from Walker County.
The sources say.
That's just, I'm giving my source away right now. What
Sticks
else? What
and
else?
stuff. Sticks and stuff.
Sticks and stuff. Hi, I'm Tina Gordon. How many? This is a conversation for yesterday.
Uh-huh.
How many actual races did she drive in? And I'm not talking about the Hooters tour, whatever, nationwide tour, whatever the other one was. Rocket City Mortgage Tour.
More Winston tours.
How many Winston Cup races did she drive in? I missed the Winston Cup. Remember when we made it the Nextel Cup?
Yeah.
I was like, guys,
No.
nobody wants push to
Who
talk.
were you? Yeah.
We could just call them.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
I had a Nextel for a minute
Uh-huh.
because I got on my dad's plan for like $9.99 a month.
Okay.
Well, if you recall, Nextel, one of the only ways that it was even sort of worth it was if you had 15 people on your plan.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's $99 a month, but each additional line is only $2.99. So you lined everybody up on your plan. Now, don't call me.
Right.
Motorola 2A page me. Like, don't.
That's it. Yep.
Shorty chirp back.
As someone that sold that at Radio Shack on other places, yes. That was made for businesses. That's why the construction guys had them, because it was the same way for businesses.
If you chirp, shorty chirp back.
Yep.
God, it's so dumb. Think about that.
We loved it.
We literally, and now this is how full circle we've come. We also have ads playing on our station for literal walkie-talkies.
Royal Rumble, yeah, yeah.
Walkie-talkies, folks.
Nationwide push to talk. Come on, it's just nationwide.
We're trying to get satellite internet service here, and we're going back to walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies. Don't call me. I only have 300 minutes this month. However, I can 2A nonstop. You're trying to date a girl. Well, I have singular. It's a singular phone call you're going to get too.
That's all you get.
All my minutes are gone.
They're gone.
Can't do it. You're walking around the bar looking for girls that had the Nextel on their belt clip.
Yep.
I could definitely date her.
There you go. Yeah.
It'd be free conversations.
Bird Manning walking your hands up.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. And then actually, it might be. Stay away from that.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. I'm at like 288 minutes this month. But 2 weeks from now, I'm good. Holler. Ron Selesky tweets in, the Suzuki Man commercials were legit. Fun fact, he lived 2 houses down from me in Trustville.
Really?
I'm trying to remember. I remember the Suzuki Man. I do remember that. But what I remember more, and I need to know if John's not the only person that remembers this, the literal buy one, get one free Kias that we had in Birmingham when it first came out.
That's insane.
It was real. Now, I don't know how big.
What was the name of the company?
I do know it was a racket. I just don't know how big of a racket it was.
That's wild.
Because I was about to turn 16, and at Masonville Apartments. Chris Benton lived at Cripple Creek, which you probably can't name your apartments that anymore, but I'm just telling you the name of the apartments. And we concocted this plan that we were going to work and come up with enough money for half a Kia, because then we will both have a new Kia. Buy one, get one. They have BOGO Kias, folks.
Yep.
It's real.
If you have a job and you have $99.
Oh, there it is. There it is. See?
That's wild.
Forgot the name of the Kia place, whatever it was. Billboard Kia.
Ching. The door, like,
It had that
ching.
that hammer hitting a chink.
Do you have a job? Ching. Do you have 79 cents? Ching.
You are approved.
Not for one, for two Kias.
That's insane.
Golly. I remember just for feet, your 12th pair is free. Unless you were the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
12
I don't think people had any idea how long that was going to take to get there.
The 12th
Which,
pair
by the way,
is
I
free.
worked at Just for Feet, so I know all about the racket. Every bit of it.
Coming out to, it's a racket. Okay.
We had the same damn, like, 70s. Basically, if you went to Bell Bottoms after midnight, circa 2003 to, like, 15, whatever they played from, like, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., that's what we played on loop at Just for Feet. And it was loud.
Back her out. Okay. All right.
God, my.
They knew their audience.
Well,
Over and over and over.
What are you, Nelly and Tim McGraw?
Again. Everybody goes to Milo's.
Yes, sir.
That one I feel like came on kind of late, though, for me.
Yeah,
Like, that
yeah.
wasn't.
I wasn't growing up, it felt like. I felt at least high school.
Would we say that just in Birmingham, not everywhere, Milo's one of the most successful, like, grassroots campaigns of any company in Central Alabama? I don't remember ads early on when they had, like, the wax covered flower cups for your sweet tea.
Yeah, yeah.
That's dating myself right
yeah,
there.
I remember.
I don't remember them really marketing a lot early on, but everybody loved it and everybody knew about it, and then all of a sudden everybody goes to Milo's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They needed the jingle. Just like Long's, Electronics.
Oh wow, tomorrow's
Tomorrow's
today.
Electronics.
Was that
today.
just Birmingham, or was that? I don't know if there were other Longs other places.
I feel like I didn't see him anywhere else.
I've never heard that.
That's not surprising. Ooh, handy TV appliance saves you money. It's a
It's a
fact.
fact. Yeah,
it's
I
a
did.
fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
They did their job.
Greg Holsey, Seymour trucks and pay so little for the car dealership in Jasper. I don't remember that one.
Ooh,
That must have been like a local,
that's a good one.
super local ad. Don't you buy no ugly truck? Call me, Alabama. That's what Nick tweets into the show. Alexander Shinnar was selling used cars.
You got to start somewhere.
I saw a guy on it was on Instagram, but he had ripped his own TikTok video and put it on Instagram, and he did like the 5 wealthiest people based in or around Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was 3.
Really?
Boy.
I don't know what this guy's sources are.
Okay. Well,
Anonymous.
I believe 2 is number 1. May or may not be an Auburn booster.
right. Yeah.
About 1.4 bill.
Do you think Shannara would be 1 if he didn't spend all that on advertising?
No, because I don't think he gets there without spending that on advertising.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Word of mouth.
So I think it was Raymond, Bryant, Shannara, I think was the list.
Yeah.
Well, he's in good
That
company.
feels right. Yeah.
It was a couple $100 million.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was like, those billboards worked.
and they're everywhere.
There's a lot of them.
Ain't in this state. I saw one in Louisiana for Christmas. It's like, oh, he's spreading.
It's Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
There's got to be more of these 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. Local marketing campaigns, what were the most successful? Because we hear some of these and we just immediately start singing them. There's got to be some out there we're not thinking of. Birmingham-based commercials that just don't go away. $100 says you'll beat your best deal regardless is one. I can't. I'll never get it out. Daddy! Hey, Daddy!
That's insane.
And there's like a tiger in the parking lot or something, just completely stupid.
But it's still blowing my mind. Buy one, get one. Kias.
I know you don't believe that, but that was a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's just insane.
Now, I have never met a human at Centerpoint, Kia and Suzuki, whatever it was,
Yeah. I don't know.
that actually bought one and then they handed them the keys to an extra one.
Right.
where you
by
going?
the way,
Yeah.
here's your other title for your second Kia. Where'd that one come from? You get it free.
That's just wild.
Hey, honey, you driving your blue or your red to work today?
It feels like a red day today.
Dre wants to chime in on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Dre.
Hey, Cole, I got one for you. I know you and Jan remember this one. Remember when Little Caesar first came out, buy one, get one free, came in that long white paper bag?
Yes. And then they changed it. They went from the buy one, get one free. It was basically just you're getting 2 large pizzas.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then they just went to like $3.99 or
Yeah,
$5.99, whatever it was.
Hey, Cole, one more, Cole. I'm trying to see, do you remember this one? Hiding Now, 25-cent hamburger.
God, dude.
Oh.
No, hold on a second.
Oh,
Hold on a
25
second,
cent
Dre.
hamburger.
Oh,
Yes.
Damien, hold
Oh.
on a second. We absolutely keep in mind. I lived at Maison DeVille, Courts at Wildwood, which is right there at the corner
Yes.
of Lakeshore and Green Springs.
Yep.
I also lived in those apartments when there was no exit ramp off 65
nope.
to Green Springs
Yeah.
or Lakeshore. We literally, my mom still tells the story, and she regrets it to this day. They came because we lived in an apartment building that was torn down for that exit ramp, and they came to her and offered a down payment on a house or a free year's rent, and she took the year rent. Yeah, bad ball. Bad ball.
Oh, come on, Mom.
She's a single mom trying to make it.
Yeah.
That was better for her at the time.
Facts.
Probably at the time, for right then and right now, did the right thing, but for what that house would go for today, probably not the best decision.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
we were up at Wildwood often when Wildwood was it, or not the Palisades. The Palisades was it for a minute too.
It was, yeah.
But Hot Now, it was basically the same drive-through concept that Checkers is.
Checkers and-
So you
yeah,
couldn't
okay.
go in. There was
Yeah.
nowhere to sit down. And I remember
Everyone went to one side because you couldn't go to the other if you were by yourself because you had to go you couldn't go on the other side of the car.
I mean, Damien, we would go up there for $5 and like 3 offensive linemen
Oh, boy.
more than we could eat.
Yeah.
25-cent fries, 25-cent
Oh, my God.
hamburger,
Yes.
35-cent cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
They need to come back.
And
Then
I
when-
don't
then
think
when
they
they
had
added
much
the-
else.
Then they started adding in like the 50-cent double cheeseburger and all that. I was like, oh,
50
okay.
cent
Now we're
double
talking.
chicken. Man, they make a. Oh, my
And
God.
then,
Left
my,
with-
and
left
then
with-
my rich friends wanted to go to breakfast before school at Chick-fil-A, where a biscuit was like $4.99. And I was like, Hot Now
It's
has
right there.
a 25-cent burger.
That was the life. You take $10, go to Hot Now, walk down to Qzar, blow the rest.
Qzar,
and then,
golly.
yeah.
Qzar was awful. You never hit the targets, really.
I mean, you didn't.
I think
no,
they just randomly
You
made
didn't play
things
Qzar.
go
You
off.
played the arcade. But yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of people, I mean, we would come out of Qzar there were people like walking out there just drenched.
Yeah.
7-0. Good. Congrats on that. Seth wants to chime in. Seth, welcome into the show.
What's going on, guys? Just gotta say, this is one, as a Birmingham local guy, this is one of my favorite segments you've done in a while. But I think the GOAT jingle from Birmingham 100% is Southeastern Meats, where our meats just can't be beat.
Southeastern meats just can't be beat. And it was only the close, too. Like, I have no idea what they did in any other portions of the commercials.
Nope.
But by God, they closed it the same way every time, and I will never forget that.
With that logo with a cow head or something on. Yep.
You could walk. I could be walking around Eugene, Oregon, and somebody could come up to me and say, Southeastern meats, and I would say, just can't be beat.
Yep.
That'll never go away. It'll literally never go away.
I don't know. I still think regardless tops it.
That's mine. B Stone tweets in, those Kias were go-karts wrapped in plastic. But you know what? You're getting one for free. Either way.
Exactly.
Hell, we could glue them together and have a big one, maybe. I don't know.
Is that not what those 3-wheeled motorcycles are now, more or less? With the 2 in the front, 1 in the back? Like,
Oh, this is a good one. Jamie Bailey's got a good one. Looky, looky, looky.
ooh.
Here comes
Here
Cookie.
comes Cookie.
Cooks. Pest control.
Decatur natives, the Cooks are. That one will never go away.
No,
either.
that's still
that's a
kicking.
great one. Justin Pace tweets in Ed's Pet World, which I don't know from an ad perspective of what it
Come on
is.
into Ed's Pet World.
Really?
It's a jungle at Ed. Yeah.
I don't remember
I
that.
know.
Some kind of reggae something, yeah.
I don't-
Absco fireplace and patio. They're smooth. Where comfort and style is the place to go.
That feels new, but I remember it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're new, but yes. Yes.
Oh, Jason Marchant. Everything sounds great That
sounds great. Yep.
Yep.
Get straight to the point.
Now, why else?
Everything
What else do you need to know?
sounds great. Sounds great.
You don't have to.
That's perfect.
You don't have to ask questions. You know it sounds great. Sounds great. It's repetitive marketing, man. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's
what it
brilliant.
is. It's absolutely brilliant. Oh, there's so many from the childhood that just won't go away. I mean, God, I go back to yours, John. Do you have a job?
Do you have $99? Then you can go home in a new Kia today.
Do you have oxygen in your lungs? Can you grip a steering wheel? All right, we'll continue this with some of your feedback next. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Next hour, Isaiah Hole will join us to discuss the Michigan Wolverines, player being added to that roster. quarterback Jake Garcia. What does that mean? Should we be looking into that more? Should we be thinking more about that? But we've gone with local marketing campaigns, and there are many around here that we discuss, that we talk about, that we've had fun with. One that you have heard me mention, Game Day Men's Health. You go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. What are they going to do for you? They're going to give you a baseline of where your health is first and foremost, because you sign up for a free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test, so you'll know where you stand. Then, if it's weight loss you need, multiple programs for that. The peptides are in stock as well. Better sleep, anti-aging, maybe even weight loss there also. A lot of different ways that they can get you where you want to be from a health perspective, holistic approach to health and wellness. Great people, no stress, not going to try to push you into programs that you don't need. And remember, minimal upfront cost for the programs they offer at Game Day Men's Health. Why not go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com and sign up for the free consultation today? All right, a couple of folks chiming in with some different ones that are coming in. Call Goldberg, 800-600. Was that local? I honestly don't know.
No, that one local, but it was
kind of worn out here. Yeah.
1-888-2300 Empire. Like, yeah, that
today.
This is so
that was around, but yeah, I don't think that was local.
Adam Dutton tweets in at Mac and Cube. Not a jingle, but Ronnie Marchant Furniture went out of business for at least 25 straight years. It's totally fair. It's totally fair. Poor Ronnie. He must have been stressed out.
Themselves.
Just like continuously digging himself out of a hole, going right back in it, out of business again. Man, I mean, even as a kid, you were sitting there thinking, wasn't it last week? 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure Ronnie was gone. Now he's back again. Okay. Justin Pace tweets in, help me remember the guy that would paint any car for $99. I actually do. I remember the commercial. I remember the ad. I know what he's talking about. We'll paint any car for $99. I remember that, but I don't remember the company or exactly how it went. I do remember that, though. You want to be a part of this conversation? 800-239-9569. You can text in 205-834-9450. Damian, what's coming in via the text line?
We got some interesting ones. Somebody did the you'll do fine at Susan Shine, where you're number one.
Remember that one? Absolutely. That was a good one.
Chip Ellis, I am the bank.
Somebody tweeted that one in also. Yes.
We've got some people. Somebody texted in about. I'm trying to find the. It says if I tell you a rooster dips snuff, look under his wing and you'll find a can. It's some Ford dealer.
I don't recall that one. That may have been either uber localized or a different one. I don't recall what that one was.
Somebody said Goldberg is in Birmingham.
Okay, there you go.
Hey.
See, it is local. Who's next? But
we got Long Lewis.
Long Lewis had a lot of different ad campaigns over the years, but yeah, that was one that definitely sticks there. And you told us during the break that somebody texted in that they actually did the buy one get one free Kia.
Yeah, somebody texted in and said their aunt and uncle got the buy one get one Kia.
All right, I need answers. I need to talk to that person.
Right.
All right, let's go to Jason on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Jason.
Hey, guys. Thanks for mentioning my granddad. I tell you, Ronnie Marchant Furniture. I mean, rain damaged furniture, fire damaged furniture, ever what you need. That's your ever what you need. That's one word.
Rain damaged furniture.
Rain damaged furniture, fire damaged furniture, ever what you need. But growing up, it was Jim Dandy Dog Food and him were the main title sponsors for, and I used to get up and watch, Gary Gnu. I mean, and it was the Great Space Coaster. This is like early 80s. So it was the Country Boy Eddie show. He was the primary sponsor with Jim Dandy. Yep. And they had all these country music stars and all this stuff, but they actually owned the call letters for WBRC. So that was before there was a such thing as, morning news with Channel 6. So they had to purchase those call letters from those three guys back in the day. So that's where the real money came from. But I never forget asking him, because I would see, all like you guys, I'd see all these commercials. I'd be like, Granddaddy, like, is everything okay? Like, you're going out of business. What's going on? And he would wink at me and he'd get down. And I said, the last one I said, it said, you've lost your lease. He said, son, when you go month to month, you're always losing your lease.
Man, that's great.
Wow.
That's I mean, he's a marketing genius. I don't
have a
think there's
good
any
day.
doubt about that. So I appreciate the call, Jason. Ronnie Martin's grandson calling in on the Higginbotham hotline. Pretty cool to kind of hear that. Kiffy wants to chime in on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Kiff.
No, this is Kissy.
Oh, my apology. Good morning.
That's okay. Good morning. This little jingle was on everyone's lips back in the 50s and 60s. Jack's hamburgers for 15 cents are so good, good, good. You'll go back, back, back to Jack's for more, more, more.
So that's where that came from.
There it is.
I only
Yeah.
ever heard the back
Y'all
half
remember
of it.
that?
Yeah, the back is
Yeah.
something they held on
Yeah.
to for a while.
I
but
never heard the front half.
Didn't hear the
That
majority
was
of that.
That was the first drive-through fast food restaurant. It was in Homewood, Cole, right where the police station is now.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Wow,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
That
calling
was
in
cool.
and sharing that.
Sure.
And they had Hot and Now beat.
Yeah.
15 cents. Man.
Let's get a stack of those things. A couple people were tweeting in that Earl Scheib was the "we'll take the ugly out of your car" $99 paint job.
That's right.
Take the ugly out of your
Yep.
car.
That was
It's
it.
a great line, by the way.
I like that.
A lot of marketing behind that one.
Take the ugly
Lots
out
of
your
marketing
car.
behind that one. Golden Domer wants to chime in on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Domer.
Top of the morning.
Good morning.
Now look, one of the best marketing ploys in the history of the state, and we're really connected to it, was the Alabama Got 12. I mean, they told a lie for so long, everybody believed it. In 1986, they got 6 championships. 1992, they got 12. And don't know nobody knows how they got 12, but it's on every shirt at Piggly Wiggly, so it must be true. Got 12. We said that for what, 30 years? Got 12. Got 12. So that was a great marketing ploy.
If that's the way you wanted to view it, yep, I think possibly.
I didn't notice he said we.
Yeah.
If you can't beat him, join him.
That's
Okay.
before my time, so I don't know.
I mean, it was on a lot of shirts.
Yeah.
Got 12.
Yeah, and it was like the Got Milk font.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody texted in Sneaky Pete's. The way hot dogs
Should be. Yeah. Not only consumed a lot, worked there.
I forgot. Yeah, you did.
There are
work
some
there.
horror stories of Landrum and I at the Brookwood Mall location, in which I was given the opportunity to be a manager, which is
Atta baby.
bad idea.
Leadership.
Bad idea. Bad idea when you can't even get the front gate open to get in. We got to go on that day. It took us a while. We got breakfast going. We got the hot dogs made, and especially on a Sunday morning was not the day for us to get started by ourselves. A lot of freebies handed out that day. Maybe, possibly. It's I think I ran the gambit of working at places at Brookwood Mall. Foot action, just for feet, Sneaky Pete's. Never made over to Diamond Gyms though.
Oh.
Stayed in the lane. Stayed in your lane.
Let's talk about getting your money's worth. This is where I would literally be at a machine. I would have been at a game the entire time. Sir, our tickets are stuck in this. Hold on. I'm on level 30 at Gallagher. I'll be over there in a second. This is the only time I can afford to play 4 quarters of NBA Jam when it's for free. I'll be over there in a second. What's the hardest video game you've ever played, John? Tron in the arcade. Not even close for me.
Mortal Kombat kicked my butt. I could not.
But once you learned it, you were okay. Like I think Tron, there were certain level. Like
was
you
hard,
had to
yeah.
you could pick the different. Like if you wanted to go shoot the spiders, or if you want to do the little cars that built the thing behind you. The shooting the spiders when you couldn't get past, and the cars like maybe the first level or whatever, but then you were just done. There was no way you could do that. So, all right, keep the ad campaigns rolling in. 800-239-9569. Text in 205-834-9450. I need to hear from the people who got the free Kia. The only couple in town that actually took advantage of buy one, get one free Kias. Next on Mac and Cube in the morning. This was on the Just for Feet playlist, I believe. And the guy who trained me there, I can't remember his name. I remember like big, thick, like Harry Carey glasses, a little bit overweight. He would jam out to every song.
Oof.
And he was like a manager. He'd been working there 8 years. I was like, I've been here a week and I'm sick of these songs. You can't think this is good. But he was just always happy.
The Kia place went away from buy one, get one, then started using this.
Yes. Thanks for bringing that up again. Damien, we have an update on the Kia situation?
Yeah. He texted back in and said, my bad, fellas. Just talked to Uncle about the details. He said they never followed through.
Mm. They didn't, or,
so my theory,
didn't?
My theory continues that this actually never happened.
It never happened.
If you are in Birmingham or once were and actually purchased a Kia and got another one free, we need to know. I need to know who you are, when this took place, what models you got, and what the colors were. And how did you get the extra one home?
God.
I'm telling you. And Damien, this wasn't like a one weekend thing.
No.
This went on for years.
A sales pitch.
Like a long time. Do you have a job? Buy one, get one free. An entire Kia.
I mean, if it worked.
I feel like the Kias were better than like the Suzuki Samurai. Like B Stone was tweeting in about how little they were. They were.
Yeah.
It was an essential smart car back then.
I mean, they weren't Geo Metros, but still, yeah, they were close.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the same thing?
Kia, at least
like
you had
Ford
room.
And GMC sort of.
You had room in the
Chevy
back seat.
and GMC.
He said you had room.
No, you're right. You did. Suzuki Samurai, man, like people thought they had made it when they had one of those.
Suzuki Samurai.
Yeah, I think Vanilla Ice had one in a video. And so you take that top back off the back.
Wow.
This thing, here's the thing, Damien, too. Those Kias were like $4,000.
Yeah.
Brand new.
So, you have to like break the bank, but you know.
I was like, hold on. Did we not just see a commercial for a new truck is like $32,000? And that brand new car is $4,000?
Yeah.
$39.99?
I get two?
Just saying.
Somebody said Radio Shack. You got questions, we got answers.
We got answers. Yep. I don't know if that was super local or not, but I definitely recall that one. No doubt.
As someone that worked there, we did not have them answers. Nope. All me and my homeboy did was watch PTI.
Man, there were not more industries hit harder than local electronics.
Yeah.
Nope. Handy's still around though.
So a lot of those just got wiped out. Tough. There's got to be some out there we're forgetting, but that was a fun couple segments. We have a little bit of time when we come back before we get into Michigan. Isaiah Hole going to join us at 9:20, give us the latest on their quarterback situation, what they're going to look like this upcoming season, but keep the feedback rolling in. More coming up next. Hour number 3 underway. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking some local ad campaigns previously. Alabama gets a commitment from 4-star quarterback Jet Thamala, flipped from Iowa State. Says he wants to go to the NFL.
That's a good pipeline.
Well, Brock Purdy starter?
True.
The kid there right now going to be a starter? Good chance.
Good, yeah.
This is not the only place you can do it, and I get it. It's
the guarantee.
It makes sense. Alabama also adds Preston Murphy from Northern Oklahoma College to the basketball roster, averaged over 14 points per game there last year. College World Series, LSU takes out UCLA 9-5, finishing up that one yesterday. Arkansas takes down UCLA 7-3. UCLA's out. Louisville takes down Oregon State. Oregon State is out 7-6. So today at 2, you'll get Louisville, Coastal Carolina. Tonight on ABC, you get Thunder, Pacers in the NBA Finals. Last night, the Yankees go down to the Angels 4-0. The Yankees have lost 5 straight. They have 4 runs in their last 6 games. They don't have a run in their last 3. They literally didn't score a run against the Angels. The Angels! Not great. Braves take out the Mets in 10 innings yesterday. They're 32-39 on the season now, 5-4. Mets go to 45-28. Dodgers take out the Padres. Dodgers have had 2 really good series in a row now, specifically with what it's done for them in division over San Francisco and San Diego. 8-6, they get that win. They're 45-29 on the season. Jolly tweets in, Mortal Kombat, you couldn't get on the machine. It was a line of people. Tron was a waste of money. Cool game, hard as heck. I agree. You have people texting in about video games?
Yeah. Drake said the hardest game was Contra.
No. Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Unlimited men or 30 men, one or the other, and you're good. All you had to do is get the spray gun, and you're fine.
Once you had it, yeah, that was it.
Spray gun, you're good. Now, the little electronic gun, whatever that thing was, laser, that was awful.
I didn't mind fire. Fire was fun.
Fire was good.
Yeah.
But the laser, because you kept hitting it fast, and it would only it wouldn't come out.
Yep.
Somebody said Dark Souls series is the hardest.
Excuse me?
Games. I'm not
Is that
familiar.
the sequel to Tales from the Crypt? I don't know what that is. What is that?
I have no idea.
Do you know that, John?
I, in fact, do not.
That's a game?
Just read text,
Or a
man.
local ad campaign?
Dark Souls.
We'd have remembered that.
Yeah.
That has stood out around here.
You know what I was talking about the other day that I brought this up and like some of the older people in the room kind of lit up. It was like a group of parents. JC's Haunted House. How good? How good was JC's Haunted House back in the day?
Ooh. They knew what to do.
Well, first off, you took a mansion that was literally not inhabited, and then once a year built a haunted house in it. And the layout of it was perfect.
Yep.
It was just, see, Damien, you go to all these,
Aatrox
Sloss Furnace and Atrix, whatever, eating Christmas dinner with the haunted people, wherever the hell that is.
That's what they offer.
Christmas dinner.
I mean, that's what they offer. You have Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Come and scare you.
Easter brunch next with the skeletons from Atrix.
It's different, man. Somebody asked.
But this was an old house in Southside.
And it was
right there across the street from St. Vincent's. What's there now? Z's or something?
I think so. Yeah, it's not as fun.
Right across from whatever that sports bar is right there. And it was this giant mansion right on the corner. And it was a haunted house every year. And the line would be around the block for this thing. And it was good. They had, like, you would walk down one hall and look to the right and see, you didn't see the movie Christine, so this doesn't mean anything to you. But it was like this 57 Chevy. The lights would come on, and it was like an actual bumper front hood of a car. And, like, the horn would honk, and it would look like it was coming at you. I'm just telling you, it was different back in the day, man. We had a strategy in there, though. I will just say this. It was dark.
Mm-hmm.
No cameras back then. Not a lot of lights. Our strategy was pockets full of pennies. You can take that for whatever you want.
Understandable.
Made for a lot of uncomfortable characters. They didn't know what was going on. Wait till the lights went back off. Pocket some handful of pennies. Yeah.
Well, they can touch you. Well,
we were
right
sick
back.
kids.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were sick kids.
Yeah, I got active.
It was like Freddy Krueger comes around there. He's getting pelted with pennies.
Well, now both of us are scared. Like,
Yeah.
Look at you.
Imagine him as the next group coming in. God, what if they have quarters? He'd be rich.
Somebody texted in and says, got to know if Cole ever hit gold or got stuck in the combat zone and just for feet.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so here's what happened. So you had, if you ever went in just for feet and you saw the name tags, which I almost think that you were like waterboarded if you forgot your name badge, your name tag. And if you lost it, it cost like $15 for a replacement. This guy. And so there was a staff meeting before every time you worked. Like you'd go, we're selling sneakers, guy. We're having a staff meeting. Like we're not playing Alabama this week. Good God. And it was like the goals and like, there's only 2 pairs of Reebok pumps that are off the shelf this week. Like, what are we doing? We have 14 size 10s and they're not gone. But if you ever noticed, there were little pins of a foot on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you hit your goal for the month, you got a silver foot. And if you hit, if you hit your goal, you got a silver foot. And if you hit whatever percentage over your goal or consecutive months of goals, I can't recall, you got a gold foot. Now I, who was for the most part stuck back in the stock room, which I will say would have blown your mind how big it was, specifically the Galleria location. Brookwood was tough because they had to jam them in everywhere. There just wasn't a lot of space. The Galleria stock room was like 3 stories. And it had like these little wooden stairs. You'd go to the back and these little wooden stairs up, and you'd be like, okay, that's a running shoe set. And then you go up again. There's like all the basketball shoes or the kids' shoes were down here. It was a literal maze in the back of that thing. Unbelievable. Which is probably why they're out of business now. But yeah, I never achieved gold status. No, it was not a real thing. But I will say, at least they didn't fire me before they owed me my 20% annual bonus for being overquartered for the year and cost me a Rolex, like some other companies did. But things happen. People make choices. We're all for the better because of it, I guess.
Yeah.
That was an experience, though, man, working there. Like, he had a Super Bowl ad.
Really?
Harold, I believe, was the gentleman's name. I can't recall his last name. And I was going to throw one out, but I'm not going to do that because people would point a finger. Yes, he bought ads on the Super Bowl.
Hey.
Just for Fee had a Super Bowl ad.
Hey.
A local shoe store, which I do think he tried to branch out to like Orlando and Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. We need a 30 for 30 on Just for Feet.
You got some stories?
I got some pairs too. It's the only reason you go work at a shoe store.
Right.
When I worked at Foot Action, I literally told my boss, don't even give me a check. Just tell me what all I can get and how much of it I can get. Bama Posey tweets in, at Cole Cubelic, love cleaning shoes at the front door while listening to Rock the Boat for the 100th time that day. Golly, that brings back memories. So you would also get reprimanded if you did not offer add-ons. Add-ons were socks.
Okay.
Add-ons were the sneaker balls that like kept your shoes smelling good.
Right.
Which,
okay.
how's a ball in your shoe going to take away the odor of the shoes? Yeah.
Laces.
It didn't work. Laces.
Yeah.
And then shoe cleaner, which I will say worked.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a spray can, and on the top it had like the little bristles, the thing, and you had to show people how it worked, which they couldn't see for themselves, that you sprayed it on your shoe and then scraped it, and then looks like it's almost white again.
Gotta give a presentation.
If you were caught not offering add-ons, I think you went to the dungeon, like honestly, for a day. And you were not supposed to play basketball during your shift. May or may not have done that a couple times. Listen, it was a slow day. You want to let people know that the basketball port's still operational.
Right.
Get in there and drop some threes. Why not? And then Hibbett in Brookwood Mall had an adjustable basketball goal with the sport court in it.
I remember that. Yeah.
Which may or may not have been the smartest or dumbest idea in the history of retail.
Get a quick one-on-one game.
Damien, we would be in there for hours. Hours. We would meet there after school to literally play basketball because it was like an 8-foot goal with a dunk rim, which not a lot of goals like around town had breakaway rims in my day. We wouldn't buy a damn thing.
Just get in there.
And there'd be 13 days a month that we were in there for over 2 hours at a time, not by one single thing. We were in there hooping, though, just ripping dunks down, throwing alley-oops, yelling at each other.
Right. That ain't y'all's
Fights.
fault. That's a Hibbett problem.
Here come the kids from Hoover. We're scrapping on the side, but somebody's over there trying to buy their mall walker shoes.
It's a full game of 21 going on.
Betty just wants a Braves hat for her grandson, and we're in there just like shoving each other into the chain link fence, like checking them into the boards. Ripping dunks.
Damn one.
No, there were no fouls. There were no fouls inside that thing.
Oh my gosh. Dragon's Lair was the rage in the 80s.
Oh, I remembered the game. I was too young to play it because that took I feel like that was a different set of skills, man. That was like
I couldn't do that.
I don't know how it works. Somebody have to tell us. But what it appeared to be is you were literally watching a TV show on a giant arcade box, and you just chose what the guy did. It was almost like a video version of the Choose Your Novel. Like if you want to go in the cave, turn to page 36. If you want to hold Susie Lou's hand down the path, turn the page. It was always, I always deemed it as way too complicated to even start. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here. It was like a full movie on the screen, like an animated movie. And I was just, I was out. I couldn't do it. Didn't do it.
Somebody said the Oregon Trail.
Oh, man, I don't even count that as a video game because you played it at school.
Right, yeah.
It don't
trying
count.
to let me learn. I mean, it was fun.
I might say, I'll go this far. Mrs. Cox, 8th grade math, having the option to play Oregon Trail probably mostly led to me failing math 3 years in high school.
That helped.
We forded some rivers, by God. And the amount of buffalo that we took down, not necessary at all. It was, we didn't hunt buffalo. We extincted buffalo.
Yeah.
All of them.
Off the
just
map.
took them, just sat there. You're down to one round of ammunition. Well, then let's go get some more because there's more buffalo that need to go down. You can't carry all this with you. Fine.
So,
somebody else is going to need it.
Someone will enjoy it.
We are taking them out. Every single one on the prairie is going down now.
What was your strategy for hunting? Like, did you, whenever I hunted, all I did was, I hold down the right arrow, and he would just spin around, and I would just keep shooting.
It was basically the S gun in Contra before it was really a thing.
Yeah.
You just did it yourself. Mine was to get as close as possible. You just got to chase him down and then let it rip.
Yeah.
God, that was great. Rod tweets in, just for feet, yet no matter what shoe you choose, they only wanted about 10 different styles and would bring out one of every those no matter what you chose. Whole store was a scam. That was another thing you'd get reprimanded for. So John comes in and he says, I want the new Jordans. You had to take out 3 other options every single time. 3 options every time. So I had to take you the Reebok Pump. I had to take you the Shacknosis or the AIs, whatever it was. I had to present you 3 different things every time. Imagine the amount of people going in there. Actually, I know exactly what I'm looking for.
Right.
I want the CB4s, Air Max. I want the Barclays. Well, guess what? The Griffies are out. We also have the Dion's. And the new Bow Cross Trainers are here. I didn't ask for those.
That's right.
Well, we have to bring them, sir. So look at them.
I'm trying not to get fired.
Let me know which ones you don't want, other than all of them. Thank you.
That's wild.
Somebody wants a pair of Air Max running shoes. You had to take New Balance, Asics, and Adidas. You had to lay them. Hey, sir, just in case you're wondering, we have 10.5s in all of these. Good. Don't know why you brought them.
I know exactly what I want.
Didn't matter.
It's wild.
You went to the cage if you didn't take 3 extra pairs of shoes out there. He was not afraid to yell at you either.
Really?
Maybe that's why I could deal with Rick Trickett so well.
You were primed in high school.
I got yelled at selling sneakers in 9th grade on a regular basis. I learned how to fail early in my life. All right, when we come back.
You walk in, you's wearing Reeboks. They's wearing Asics. You should be better than them.
Hibbets takes 1 pair of shoes out. We's take 3. This ain't a contest.
It's insane.
We got a full basketball court. They got nothing.
3 levels of stock room in the back. They got none.
They got none.
You should not lose to Hibbets.
10.5s and 14 different styles. They got 10.5s and 2. We win. All right, we'll be back with Isaiah Hole to talk some actual college football next. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9:19, Wednesday, June 18th, right here on Jox 94.5. Listen online, joxfm.com. App is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. If you missed Matt Rife or Brett McMurphy, you can go find those on the podcast. It's in your app store. You can go rewatch YouTube every day. Search Jox 945. We're live on YouTube every morning, and you can rewatch it throughout the course of the day. Alex Page quickly tweeting in, how frustrated were you when you had to pull all the reshelf of the shoes the customers didn't ask for? That was not fun. Because again, keep in mind, if John came in and asked for one pair, I had to bring 3 extra out, right? And then you decided you like something else on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't just bring
Another
that pair
3.
out. I had to pull another 3 out. So now we got 8 pairs in boxes sitting there. And you say, you know what? Don't like the way these feel. I got to go put 8 pairs of shoes back up, which the 11s might be at the bottom of the stack on that top shelf. We got to get that one pair up there. And then the 11s in the other style were on the top of the next shelf. On the other side, we got to go get that up there. I mean, that was like a quarter of your day was restocking shoes. I'm telling you, we need to do a whole Birmingham 30 for 30 on Long Lewis Ford and their commercials just for feet. JC's Haunted House. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
And Milo's.
Everybody goes. All right, on the Higginbotham hotline now, Isaiah Hull joining us, not from Birmingham, so has no idea what we're talking about and what we're referencing. But I do appreciate you hopping on, Isaiah. We've got Jeff Garcia coming in at quarterback. Now, Jake Garcia, excuse me. A lot of people are making this to something's wrong with Mikey Keene or something's wrong with Bryce Underwood. Give us the real underlying meaning as to why this roster move was made for the Wolverines.
By the way, with the Jeff Garcia mistake there, you don't know how many times I've almost made that.
It's going to happen. It's impossible to not happen. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, especially because Jeff Garcia did end up playing for the Detroit Lions up here in Michigan for a little while. But it isn't really at all about. I think if it has anything to do with anyone, it's probably a little bit more Mikey Keene because he was injured all spring, right? Like he was brought in, Mikey Keene, to compete with Bryce Underwood with I think probably the idea that it was going to look something like Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence back in 2018, right, where Kelly Bryant ended up starting the first 4 games, and then Trevor Lawrence came in and spelled in a little bit here and there, and then ended up starting in week 5 going forward. I think that was probably kind of the plan to some degree. And then with his injury, and then you add in the fact that Michigan has no depth at the quarterback position because last year they had Davis Warren and Alex Orji and Jack Tuttle. Well, Jack Tuttle medically retired mid-season. Davis Warren tore his ACL in the ReliaQuest Bowl and therefore is out for at least half of this year, if not longer. And then you've got Alex Orji who transferred out. So you're already relatively depleted. So your quarterback room, if Mikey Keene was having some injury issues, your quarterback room otherwise is just Bryce Underwood, Chase Herbstreit, the other 2 freshmen, the son of Kirk Herbstreit, and Jaden Davis. So they needed to add some arms to this room just in case kind of anything happens. And I know that Jake Garcia hasn't exactly had the career that he probably wanted to have, but I know he's got a child to take care of, and he was a former 4-star recruit, and it's kind of one of those things where you kind of wonder if Chip Lindsey looks at him and says, I wonder if I can just at least get you closer to your potential, even if in case of emergency, basically.
Right. We're talking with Isaiah Hull. He covers the Michigan Wolverines. This is impossible to state factually, but I'm interested in your opinion. Where is Bryce Underwood mentally on playing every snap the entire season, being maybe a little bit of a feel, I don't want to say gadget guy because he's a real quarterback, but I think you like situational guy, so to speak, or just flat out competing with multiple other players to be the starter and potentially end up being that starter or being the backup. Like we know that there was a lot of money that he took to get there. We know that there are a lot of people that are anticipating he has a chance to start and play. Where do you think his mind is as far as being okay with some other situations that might arise other than just being the Michigan full-time quarterback this season?
From everything I've heard, whether it's been in press conferences or people I've talked to, like he hasn't come to Ann Arbor with the idea that, hey, I've made all this money and I'm the number one recruit and I need to get on the field. He hasn't come in with that like ego or that, as I would call it, kind of a wide receiver mentality, where just get me on the field, get me the ball, that kind of thing. He hasn't really come in with that. He's been all about work ethic, and he's been all about earning it, which I think is really impressive when you consider the pre-college football accolades, right? He's a guy who's Mr. Michigan. He's a guy who won the equivalent of the high school football Heisman. He was the number one guy according to 3 of the 4 recruiting services, making all this money. You would think that there'd be a sense of entitlement, but everyone I've talked to, this has been stressed by Sherrone Moore publicly. I've talked to multiple people kind of behind the scenes. They all talk about how he's got the work ethic, how he's heck, even CBS Sports yesterday had an article from Matt Zenit that had like some anonymous sources, and one of the sources said that he wants to make sure that he goes and talks to everyone in that building, and he wants to make sure he can call like the janitor by name. He doesn't feel like he's better than anybody. So he's already got that mentality. And then you add in the work ethic where he is trying to outwork everybody. He's not resting on his laurels. He's been, again, this is something that everyone, says on the record as well as off, first in, last out type of guy. Is not, even though he's kind of traveled we've seen his Instagram story, and there's times where he's in Los Angeles, he's at Disney, he's in Hawaii, wherever. But outside of some of these travels that he's had, he isn't all about like the city scene or anything like that. He's got a longtime girlfriend, and from what I've heard, it's like even she has a hard time seeing him because it's a lot of time that he spends in the football building. So he's kind of got the demeanor in a lot of ways of, I need to earn whatever I get. I need to be able to outwork the guys next to me. And that really bodes well when you see talent meeting preparation. Like I look at a guy like Blake Corum that kind of had that mentality. So if he continues along that path, I think that would be really shocking if even if Mikey Keene is fully healthy, if Bryce Underwood isn't the starter, because it just seems like he's got the talent and the opportunity, and he has the work ethic that's allowing him to prepare the way that someone that's a little bit more of a seasoned vet would.
We're visiting with Isaiah Hull, who covers the Michigan Wolverines on the Higginbotham Hotline. You brought up a recent Michigan running back who is not there anymore, but Justice Haynes will be a running back on this roster, former Alabama back. What are the sentiments on him so far there in Ann Arbor, and how does that backfield look in general for this Michigan football team with whoever's going to be handing them the ball?
I think the sentiments are they're stoked to have Justice Haynes. He brings a little bit of everything to the table, and speaking of Blake Corum, I mean that's kind of who he reminds them of being able to have that speed, that ability to cut. I know he's been kind of talked of as being like a one cut and go guy, but I think they think he's got a little bit more to his game, and he pairs really nicely. Although they're both in some ways kind of similar in build and stature, he pairs really nicely with Jordan Marshall, who we saw against Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And they feel kind of like they have a little bit of what they had in 2021 when it was Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins, right? Haskins ended up being the bell cow, but Blake Corum was kind of the flash, at least until he had his injury before Hassan Haskins really then took over. They kind of feel like they got the same situation because Jordan Marshall will run people over, but so will Justice Haynes, but he's got a little bit more of that speed. So they're really excited because they feel like they've got that two-headed monster like they want to have. And it kind of looks like it's likely to be more productive than the Kalel Mullings, Donovan Edwards rotation last year. And the question for Michigan, because they do like to go 3-4 deep, is who are those next guys? And they don't really feel confident with what they have there. And you could see that because after the spring game, they brought in not just one, but two more transfers. But otherwise, they're trying to figure out who it is. Is it Micah Capana, the second-year guy that's got a lot more track-style speed? Is it Bryson Codesdahl, who the walk-on who ended up actually showing out in that spring game? Or is it one of these new transfers? Is it John Volker or C.J. Hester? So they need to try to find that third guy, if not fourth, because considering how much Michigan does want to run the football, and I still expect them to with Chip Lindsey running the show at offensive coordinator, they need to have those bodies, especially just to continue to wear other teams down.
Isaiah Hull joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking Michigan Wolverines sort of heading into this season. Now, my next question, you led into it there with Chip Lindsey being announced as the OC. I think the O-line's got a chance to be pretty good. I think the front, even with what you lost, which is crazy to think about losing a character like Mason Graham, who was just a legitimate difference maker, is still going to be really good. Is there any reason to believe that just overall this team finds a way to get away from what they've been or what they've wanted to be? They were really successful with it at times last year. There are other times kind of stuck in the mud a little bit, not having more versatility. Do they need to try to extend as far as who they are? And do you expect to see a lot of different parts to how this team operates? I hope that question makes sense. I think you know where I'm going there, but how different from a personality standpoint can this Michigan team be, or do they want to be?
I think it's interesting because you asked that, and that's kind of been my point the entire offseason, and that they can be slightly different, but still have kind of the same identity, right? And I think that's kind of the point, is that they're going to try to have that same identity. It's just they're going to work with what they have. I think what a lot of people forget is 2021 Michigan, with Cade McNamara being the starting quarterback and J.J. McCarthy kind of coming in and spelling him, Michigan was, I believe, tied for having the most explosive offense in the country in terms of yards of plays of 50 yards or more. Right, like you didn't really think of it. You thought of it as a ground and pound team, and it's Cade McNamara, but they were able to really kind of get it, whether it was on the ground or they'd air it out and everything like that. So I think it's kind of the point. That was the first year that Sharon Moore took over the offensive line and started kind of seeing, as a co-offensive coordinator under Josh Gaddis, how they were able to stretch the field vertically. That's not what they did last year at all. They were more of a horizontal passing team. They had the shallowest depth of attempts in the country in the passing game, and they had the lowest yards per attempt of any passing team in the country. So obviously Chip Lindsey wants to change that, but he is also a very balanced offensive coordinator. So, he had Amari and Hampton, and he likes to have kind of like a look of 3,000 yards passing, 3,000 yards rushing, if he can manage to do that. So I think he's going to try to probably do that. So I think that when you have someone who wants to have that balance mixed up with someone who wants to smash and Sharon Moore, I think that's a really good combination. And you mentioned like that offensive line. A lot of people are really down on it here in Ann Arbor. I'm not really sure why. I keep on seeing nationally people saying, "Oh, well, they're really young," and I'm like, it's mostly the same offensive line as last year, which improved by the year's end. Now, yeah, they did lose two guys, and Miles Hinton and Josh Preed, but like the other guys return, and then they have other people who are waiting their turn. I agree with you. I think the line has a good chance to be pretty good. And then defensively, it's been a lot of guys that have been waiting their turn, plus the transfers. They feel like the strength of their team is that front seven on defense. And I don't think that that's getting talked about enough. Like they feel like that might be the best front seven, not just in the Big Ten, but in all of college football. That's how they feel. And I kind of feel inclined to agree with them. Just because they lost Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, you look at those linebackers. They're seasoned vets now. You look at Rayshon Benny, who was right there with Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. Trey Pierce played really well in the ReliAQ West Bowl. You get that added depth with Damon Pate and Trey Williams. And we saw Ika Wana and Eno Etta all year long. And that's just the interior. They love TJ Guy and Derek Moore on the edge. So it's going to be really interesting because it kind of has a lot of the same feel of 2021 going into that season. But I feel like some of the pieces have been upgraded across the board. Maybe you don't have an Aiden Hutchinson and David Ajabo on the defensive front like they did that year. But I feel like when you look and you say, all right, we've got Bryce Underwood, Justice Haynes over on one side, and then we've just got the depth and rotational ability on the defensive side, we feel like we're going to be able to go and wear teams down the same way that we always did.
Absolutely. Isaiah, great stuff, man. We've had a lot of questions about this team. We've talked about them a decent amount the last couple of weeks. Wanted to get you on to just kind of help clarify some of what was happening and going on with this group. But appreciate you doing that, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Of course. Always my pleasure.
You can find Isaiah at Wolverines Wire. That's wolverineswire.usatoday.com. Find him on Twitter at Isaiah Hole. Does a great job covering Michigan. Has a daily Michigan podcast as well if you ever want to go catch up on the Wolverines, see what's going on there. We will continue to discuss some other college football news and notes. Back to some of your feedback from what we've been talking about earlier today. All next on Mac and Cube in the morning. A lot of you chiming in via Twitter, the phones, and text today. We appreciate you all being a part. 800-239-9569. You want to get in, text in 205-834-9450. You can always go catch up on podcasts or portions of the show that you missed. If you missed us, go through. I've had a couple of texts just talking about the nostalgia that we've hit today. Great local ad campaigns here in Central Alabama. We've relived many, and it's been enjoyable. You can go back and watch the YouTube show. It's on search Jox945 every day. The podcast is at joxfm.com or in the App Store. You can download the app and you get the link to the YouTube. You get the link to the podcast, and you can listen live right there each and every day. You guys often hear me talking about your CBD store and what they can do for you. They just want to make your daily routine better. If it's better sleep, if it's losing weight, if it's anxiety that you deal with, they have products that can help you with that. How about better focus throughout the course of the day? Maybe just a little more energy in the morning when you're trying to get your day going. They have products for that. Skincare, gut health for you and your pet, arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet. They've helped a couple of pets in my household just be able to maneuver around a little bit better when they've gotten older. Your CBD store can help with all of those things. Great customer service, 3 locations. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store where good health hits home. To wrap that up, Damian, do we have any others coming in via text on ad campaigns or?
No, we've got the video games.
What do we have there?
Somebody said Double Dragon.
Double Dragon was tough, but I mean, I think once you learn how to utilize the weapons, it was hard though. That was the game that got a lot harder as it went on.
Yeah.
Last few levels were tough.
Those weapons made everything easier, but they were so hard to get. They fall out of your hands easy, especially that pipe.
I mean, I'll still go back to, I don't know about the entire game, but landing on the aircraft carrier in Top Gun.
Oh, yeah, that's impossible.
I'm not sure I've ever seen it happen.
No.
Literally. I'm going to search on YouTube, see if anybody ever really did it. I don't think you could record yourself playing video games back then like you can now, but that was a tough one.
Michael texted in. He says, Space Ace. He says the game would give a hint where to move. If you didn't move fast enough, you would lose.
I don't recall that one. I don't know that one.
It feels like it's just mocking you at that point.
Somebody said, Posey texted in. He says, hacking Teachers Network and playing Wolfenstein in 9th grade business computer class.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, we played some Doom and Quake in computer class. Yeah, that was. I'll never forget. I don't know how I didn't get in trouble, but at the time, the computer lab, the monitors weren't on top of the desk. They were like inside the desk, so you'd look down. So I guess you had the keyboard in front of you, but that way I guess.
Why were we doing that? So they thought somebody was going to steal the monitor?
I think that way you could see the teacher and they could see you. It didn't look like you're doing nothing. You had to look down to make it look like you're working. And so me and my friends, we were more computer savvy, and so we sat like in the back corner and figured out ways, whatever, to play stuff. And the teacher kind of figured it out. And afterwards, teacher comes up to me. She says, "Were you one of the ones doing it?" And I'm like, "I don't want to lie. Yes." She's like, "Okay, you're fine. Get out of here. Everyone else, you're in trouble." And I'm like, "Thank you, God. Like, how did this happen?" Okay.
The truth will set you free.
Were you in trouble with your friends after that?
No, because I guess they busted us all, and I went up, whatever, to ask for something, and I guess I don't know. I don't know how it happened. Honestly, I don't know. I wish I did.
Well, so
I think she figured out when you just came to ask me whatever for something.
Well, similar when I was in school at Auburn and we were playing, and you try to do something to better yourself. So you come in, you didn't understand the front or the defense. You come in and watch some extra film, or you get some extra work after practice. Never failed. Cubelic was in here watching film 3 hours early yesterday, and y'all can't even get in here on time. It's like, why did you have to?
You just had to say my name.
You had to crush me with my teammates there. Like, I'm just trying to do right. And do better. Cubelic can get in here and watch 5 extra hours of film, and none of y'all can. That wasn't the reason we did that.
I'll tell you what.
That wasn't why that happened. I saw Cubelic out there in the summer taking snaps every day. None of y'all ever out there. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that. Now I'm the bad guy. Good. So much for getting better. We just got worse as a teammate. Ivan on YouTube, 176,000 views, 417 subscribers. He lands the aircraft carrier. I'll tell you what he did that I didn't think he did. He comes down a lot faster. Like, he gets to the aircraft carrier, then it's like a quick swoop down, and then he goes forward and gets out. So there's video evidence of it, not just a graphic. So I guess it's real.
Moving graphic.
I don't believe he did this. I think it's a cheat code or something.
Somebody texted in the game, Meteoroid.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's where was that where you a little triangle? And
Oh, it was Asteroid.
Asteroid.
Yeah.
But there was a
maybe the same
Meteoroid
thing,
too,
yeah.
I believe. That may have been the follow-up to Asteroid.
Sure you don't mean Metroid?
Metroid, probably.
Yeah, Metroid.
Okay. There's a slight difference.
And then like Metroid Prime, they remade that game, I do believe. I think that was an entertaining game back in its day. I don't exactly remember it.
It was fun.
Yeah. What else?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, that's all for video games. That's enough. A lot. There's some certain people that have had enough of one SEC football player and things that he has to say. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, Damien.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you about our friends at Cottages at Smith Lake. Your chance to win a dream home at the lake is this Saturday, June 21st. It's located in one of America's cleanest, most pristine lakes. And the Cottages at Smith Lake is the area's first and only tiny home community on 50 acres of woodlands on the peaceful, quiet west side of Smith Lake, surrounded by the Bankhead National Forest. Over 120 home sites to choose from, each with beautiful lake views and your choice of custom cottages from 6 unique models. The Cottages at Smith is a beautifully planned community with amenities and like gated access, boat ramp, community docks, saltwater swimming pool, lakefront picnic area, walking trails, and more. It's all walkable and golf cart friendly. So again, don't miss your chance for a perfect lake cottage at the grand opening Saturday, June 21st, presented by Joseph Carter Realty. Come out and enjoy catered food, live music, and golf cart tours of home sites. And you can reserve your spot. For more information, call 256-747-7459. That's 256-747-7459, or go to cottagesatsmith.com.
All right, when we come back, one SEC football player has some interesting comments about other leagues and other teams in his league. We'll play those for you right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. A couple of minutes to go before we hand it off to three-man front. A certain SEC football player appeared on a different show, the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt quarterback, chopping it up with Taylor Lewan and the guys, and had some interesting things to say just about his team. It's actually a good listen. I think you have to take some of it with a grain of salt. But if you don't know his background, kind of some of the things that he went through and some of the things that he did early on in his athletic career, it's pretty cool to hear. We've tried to tell you about a bunch of those because I've had him the last 2 years. But on where he thinks Vanderbilt will be this year, just in the state of Tennessee.
Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year. Like, this is going to be the new staple of, like, college football is going to happen here at Vanderbilt.
Do any of you and the boys ever, like, talk about that? Like, we got to be the state school.
Well,
we're in Nashville, Tennessee. Like, we're in the Music City. Like, we need to be the brand of Tennessee.
Everyone wants to come to Tennessee because of Nashville. So they want to come to Nashville, so Vanderbilt. And then when we have, like, the most money in NIL, like, why not come here? So, like, we literally just have to win this year and throughout the rest of the year. It'll take care of itself.
You think Vandy will have the most money in the game? Or
I think we'll be up there.
Yeah.
But, like, it's Nashville.
Yeah, there's a lot of big hitters around here.
Yeah.
They just need a team to believe in.
Let me introduce you to Texas A&M.
Phil Knight would have something to say.
I thought you just said SEC.
Oh, that's true. Well, given time, and they may be here.
Do we have a number on, like, Vanderbilt millionaire graduates? I don't know if
it's probably a good bunch.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vanderbilt family,
right,
in general, yeah, but I don't know if they are.
You got Jay Cutler.
John
Bayless.
Arnold was named one of the world's youngest billionaires by Forbes magazine, 34-year-old hedge fund manager.
Oh, okay.
Don't know if he's into football or not. Or sports in general.
Anderson Cooper.
He went to Vanderbilt? Wow.
He's a Vanderbilt.
First off, don't have to go there.
Oh, I was going to say,
he's a Vanderbilt.
We just need fans that have a lot of money. Like Jay Cutler. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that is, because I know, like, 28 schools that meant the most billionaire alumni. Who do we think's towards the top of that list?
Harvard?
Harvard, Yale.
No.
Really?
I mean, you're
Texas A&M.
You're on the right track to a certain extent.
Cornell?
Dartmouth.
I have been completely taken over here. I should not have clicked on that article. This is bad news.
Warren Sapp got you again.
I'm in trouble. Wow. Seriously, I think I'm dead.
Oh, boy.
There it goes. Whole thing just shut down. Pavia also on some potential offers that may have been out there after last season.
How much after the year was the portal blowing up for you on potential teams wanting you to come be the quarterback for them at a different school?
A lot. It was
probably
less
nuts.
like it was less reaching out to me. It was like more reaching out to like my brothers and my family and stuff.
Was there a dollar amount that you heard that was like, holy?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to share, but like anywhere from like 4 to 4.5
To leave and go somewhere
to
else.
leave.
What conference?
SEC.
Checks out.
Ooh, in conference. Any Big Ten teams
Transfer.
trying to get you?
You want to play with the best. You don't want to play with the Big Ten.
Oh, boy. That would turn into a back and forth on recent national champions, in which I would probably crown Taylor Lewan the winner of that discussion.
Yeah.
But either way. Listen, the guy's got confidence. You can say what you want about his delivery. You can say what you want about his demeanor. He believes in himself. Like, he is the ultimate bet on me guy. I shared a story with you guys of when we had a production meeting and we were talking about the offense and back and forth and calls. And I believe it was Cedric Wright, tailback, was in there with us. And he said that at one point, Pavia in the huddle had come up to guys and he goes, "Hey, at the end of the day, we got me."
Okay.
I mean, but do you want your guys to say, "Hey, at the end of the day, we got that other guy"?
Right.
Like, no, he believes he can get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So, also, maybe struggles with some head coaches' names in the Southeastern Conference.
Kalen DeBauer.
I'm sorry, who?
Kalen DeBauer.
What coach?
Kalen DeBauer.
Like Jack Bauer's brother?
Kalen DeBauer.
Don't think that's how it's pronounced.
Kalen's
buddy.
going where?
Kalen DeBauer.
Caitlin DeBauer? What?
Kalen DeBauer.
Maybe that's how they say it in New Mexico.
Kalen makes how much per hour?
Kalen DeBauer.
DeBauer.
Like the Bowery?
Kalen DeBauer.
You talking about the Raiders tight end?
Kalen DeBauer.
No, that's not it. Huh.
Kalen DeBauer.
Oh, the Mario bad guy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Kalen DeBauer.
That's him. Okay.
I mean, he did win, so he's got the right.
I didn't know that gave you the green light.
Right.
Mispronounced names.
Kalen DeBauer.
I could just beat him. Call him whatever the hell you want.
Kalen DeBauer.
But like you said, man, he is uber confident. But that's what that's a.
Here's the thing.
Gotta be
though.
kinda crazy.
People say, "Oh, he's got a target on his back." He would rather it be that way.
Right.
And he's also the kind of guy that if you do beat him, it's not going to impact him the next week at all, because he will be right back with the exact same mindset.
Yeah.
He thinks he can win every. I mean, the amount of times he references the goal being winning a national championship this year in this whatever it was 50-minute interview. I mean, people would think he bumps his head, but that's just.
Hey, somebody's got to believe it. They said it couldn't be done.
And listen, like I said, the guy's a very entertaining football player.
Mm-hmm.
He is an entertaining and polarizing individual. That doesn't mean you have to believe every single thing he says.
Nope.
Because none of us believe 4.5 million.
No, that's no, not believing that one bit.
Maybe pesos. I don't know if it's U.S. dollars.
That's fair.
But hey, you're worth whatever somebody's willing to give you.
What has to happen for Vanderbilt to run the state of Tennessee?
Succession? Annexation, I guess?
Like they need another season?
Even then.
Got it. 3-man front coming at you next.